hmm Hey, peace, and love. This is your brother Garfield, and share the show, like the show. We're gonna be kicking it for probably like around 3.5 hours, and we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna have some fun. Um, what does Black History mean to you, ladies and gentlemen? Come on, let's talk about it. What does Black History mean to you? A lot of people have their own, their own suggestions and all that type of good stuff. But what does it mean to you? And I think a lot of people, think of Black History Month, and like this is the only month when they really concentrate on being talking about history, because some of us work so many jobs, we don't have the time to really sit down and say, "Hey, I'm gonna study some history and whatever." We don't have the time, so they depend on YouTube channels such as mine, such as Each One Teach One, such as the Mossy Warrior Clan and others, to get information regarding Black history. And we're gonna keep it positive, but we're also gonna be honest. Also, what does it mean to you? We gotta be very honest about it. One of the things that came to my mind is that why didn't they call it Hamitic History Month? Because really and truly, the name Black is attached to the whole Ham concept of the Judo-Christian mindset. But what I'm gonna do is this is not about me today and my opinion at large. It's actually about the audience's opinion. So I'm actually putting the link in the chat just to hear the whole world, man. I'm having people from all over the world jump on today, and we're gonna have a conversation regarding Black History Month. And Black History Month, whether you want to call it Black as in African, African centered, from an Afrocentric point of view, it doesn't matter. Jump on and let's talk about it. Let's tell why does it mean a lot to you? I'm curious. It means a lot to me. My son, my 6-year-old son says to me, "Daddy, it's Black History Month." That means a lot to me, hearing that from a 6-year-old child. And Google Scholar, it doesn't matter, negative or positive. Let's hear your opinion. When I think of Black history, I think of our struggle. When I think of Black history, I think of Bob Marley and the Wailers and the music that we used to listen to in the late 70s, the 80s, and even up to today. The music of Bob Marley that kept us grounded as listening to something that would remind us of our horrible past. When I think of Black history, I think of Notorious B.I.G., how much of a great poet he was. I think of a Tupac Shakur, how great he was as an author, as a rapper, as a hip hop pioneer. When I think of hip hop, when I think of music, come on, let's jump on. I want everybody to jump on, man. Come on, Miss Tiffany. Come on, Mika. Jump on and tell us what you think Black history means to you. Why should we even care about Black history? Yeah, I heard all the negativity. It's the shortest month of the year. Why? That's why they gave it to us. It's the coldest month of the year. I heard all of it. But when I reflect on Professor James Smalls. I reflect on the African Studies departments that's all over the United States right now because of the struggle that Dr. Leonard Jeffries went through, to the struggles that Dr. Tony Martin went through, the struggle that Professor James Smalls went through. And now you got African Studies. If you Google CUNY African Studies departments, you see almost every CUNY school got an African Studies department. They're giving out degrees with the African Studies department. So you see the struggle that we went through here. But Black History Month started because of one person. Let's put him on the screen. Um, Let me put it on the screen. That gentleman by the name of Carter G. Woodson. He had something called the Negro History Week. And if I remember correctly, without even Googling or going back into my notes, there was a black student union in the 1960s. I might be wrong. One of you guys who know this history better than me could correct me. In the 60s, started off by saying, let's do a Black History Month. So they were the first ones, this Black Student Union in the 1960s. They decided to do a Black History Month. So Carter G. Woodson started Negro History Week. That's what he started. Okay. In the 70s, Gerald Ford. Let me bring my brother Willie Daniels on, who's going to give us a message about that too. And he could correct me. It was Negro History Week with Carter G. Woodson. Then in the 60s, a Black Student Union group from a certain university, I think it's in Arizona, if I might be wrong about that too, said they're going to do Negro History Month or Black History Month. In the 70s, Nixon resigned and Gerald Ford took over. No, I'm sorry. It was 1976, I think. So Gerald Ford was president. Or I think Gerald Ford was president or one of them Democratic guys. So they decided to make it more than Black History, than Negro History Week, and to make it a national holiday, like a national commemoration for Black history, for Black people. The Democratic Party, I believe, made it Black History Month. Willie Daniels, what do you want to add on, beloved?
I don't I don't really have a whole lot to add, Garfield. I learned a lot from you, so I'm all ears right now.
You're all ears. So what you want? What does it mean to you, though? I want to hear what it means to you.
Well, Black history or African history, it means to me seeking the truth. Um, I remember about 6 or 7 years ago, I was in New York and I ran across one of your YouTube pages, videos, and I've been in this rabbit hole ever since that day. So it just for me it means to seek the cold truth of who am I, who is my family, um, what can I teach the younger kids on learning who they are to get them out of this spiral of destruction that they're in. So that's what it means to me.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. What do you think? I think for the month of February, I mean, I have a couple of interviews I'm gonna do. And but everybody knows my story is really trying to correct a um a misconception that's been circulated in the African American community of us being the ancient Israelites. I think it has its vibe. Yeah, I think it has its vibe of making us feel worthy, because it's good to feel chosen. And when you feel chosen, you feel special. When your mom would make you feel like you're the best out of all the five kids that she has, you feel chosen, you feel better, and it makes you feel super. Because sometimes children get jealous of each other and you feel special. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm what they call in Jamaican culture, the wash belly. The wash belly is the term for the child that's the last child that the mother and the father had. So that child is normally spoiled and treated the best more than any other child. Plus, he don't make the same mistakes the other children made that got them hit or beaten as a child. He learns from seeing his older brothers getting beatings or hit, and like, I ain't gonna do that when I get older. So the wash belly learns from the errors that the other children made. So I never got hit as a child. I'm probably the most spoiled child in the history of the world. But as the wash belly, I don't make the same errors that my brothers made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But for Black history, what
Garfield.
can we learn from our elders and from our previous leadership have made the errors so we don't make them again? And one of the errors I think we make as a group, whether you're part of the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites, the African American Moors, the African American Muslims, like the NOIs and so forth. Peace and love, Faki Balboa. How are you doing? I think one of the errors that we make is that we what we do is we try to adapt a culture and tell everybody that's us and force us to be that without properly researching what we're teaching the people.
Right.
For the
Can I
yeah, go
can,
ahead, beloved.
can I ask you a question? Because this is something, like I said, I've been I've been following you for a long time. When
Mm-hmm.
I first heard the term Dagger Squad, it
Mm-hmm.
just the way you was handling your business, it just totally impressed me.
Yes, sir.
Like no other.
Thank you.
I watch a lot of Sunnet. Watch a lot of. I listen to a lot of different people, but the way you bring your dagger
Mm.
through, it cuts. It cuts really deep. But my question is, so the way that you dismantle the Israelites and a lot of different other things that people connect to, would it be simpler to dismantle the connection? Because it seems like all the groups that I hear you and Brother Unk and Monster Squad, I hear y'all punish a lot of people with information that I actually take the time out and go and research to validate what you're saying. Would it be simpler to just try to strip them away from the connection of the things that they try to connect? So I give you an example. If you don't have nothing to connect to, you connect to anything. That's why a lot of kids join gangs, right? They feel that they don't have a
Right.
family to connect to,
Mm-hmm.
so they connect to something, whether it's so negative and they know it's negative, but they have to connect to it. So for us, I don't consider myself anything other than African, living in America. And it's a lot of us that they can't connect back to Africa, so they connect to the Israelites, they connect to the Moors, they connect to this, they connect to that. And all of that is connected through some form of religion. How about, would it be dismantling the connection to the religion first so they can identify with who they are? I'm asking a question, I'm rambling with it, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of dismantling. I mean, Jeremiah David Ben Yakanan would not agree with that because he's a believer that's holding on to a fantasy world. I have put out the proposition um that you're either an identity thief or it's a case of mistaken identity. And what I have done the last couple of weeks is track down every single Hebrew claim in history in West Africa, meaning everybody from the Luangwa Jews, the Luso Africans, the North African Jews that traded with Tamantit, the Tamantit Hebrew community that was in Taut that had synagogues, to the trade of where they would trade to Mali and Timbuktu. So all the history of North African Jewry and all the Jews in Spain and Portugal. I'm actually documenting a project that I'm working on right now for actually part 3 of my book series. And what it will do, it will totally dismantle them. And I'm going to tell you why. Anyone that claims the New Testament is a Christian. There is no person that claims to be a Jew in history, pre colonial times, or even during colonial times, that believed in the New Testament that followed Judaism in any West African Jewry, any European Jewry, any Israeli Jewry, any North African Jewry, Bukharan Jews, Radhanite Jews, the Mizrahi Jews, Egyptian Jews, Persian Jews, not one of them believed in the New Testament. That totally dismantles the argument. So now, when you have brothers like my brother in the audience who don't believe in the New Testament, the issue now is, do you believe in the Torah and the Talmud at the same time? If you believe in the Talmud, it literally means that you are following the rabbinical Judaism, which most, if not all, Black American Jews are claimants. They say that they are the fake Jews. So how could you now attach yourself to the people that, for one, wants to exterminate Christ because that's what they believe in? They believe Christians should be terminated and followers of Christ should be terminated. So if you're saying that the people who you stem from are basically saying exterminate Christ or exterminate Christians, then you're being a hypocrite if you believe in the New Testament. The second thing is the people who are Jews are normally law abiding merchants, whether in an Islamic world or a Christian world. So they are merchants, and most of them have children with African women and became what's called middlemen in the transatlantic slave trade. So if you want to claim the people who helped to enslave you, you could go ahead and do that, which there's a small element of Sephardic Judaism that participated in the slave trade as middlemen. And the Luso Africans who look like me and you, beloved, they were the worst of the worst because they helped to work out a deal with the African chiefs, the slave raiders, and the people who are buying the stock of slaves, which were Europeans or even other Sephardic Jews. So at the end of the day, any Jew that they claim have a history of hurting them or helping them to come across on the transatlantic slave trade. I would not want to do that. All right. But moving forward for Black History Month, it's about self-love. So my job is to present the information and ask you, do you love yourself or do you hate yourself? All right. All right. So Mika one, I see you in the building. You're not as black as most black people. But we still love you. You're
Oh,
brown
no,
like most of us are. And what does Black History Month mean to you?
well, um, I think Black History Month is 365 days. Um, I don't know why it's limited to a month, but I mean, it's about us, basically.
Okay. What would you like to see for this Black History Month? Because there's a lot of negativity going on in the conscious community. People are talking about this one, this one, that. And for the month of February, I'm thinking about having a ceasefire myself. I'm gonna be positive, and it shouldn't be just for Black History Month. It should be for the rest of the year. I'm gonna try to project more positivity from my mouth as being the leader of the Dagger Squad and from the Brother Garfield podcast, and we're gonna try to educate our people in the best of ways. Um, so what do you hope to happen for this month? Starting off this month, because it doesn't shouldn't be just about this month.
Who you asking, me or
Yeah, I'm
somebody else?
asking you. I'm asking you.
Oh, I think we need to be more aware of ourselves and educate ourselves more about who we are. So there's a lot of education needs to be going on. Stop stealing other people identity. There's a
Mhm.
lot of things.
All right, cool. I see my brother brought up Leonard Howell. Actually, I was going to do a flyer with Leonard Howell, Marcus Garvey, Carter G. Woodson, and Professor James Small. Those are some of the people that actually made a big impact on me as far as studies wise and who I am today as an individual. But it's not about me, so that's why I just left Carter G. Woodson alone. What do you think? What I said at the beginning. What if we had called it Hamitic History Month? Because to a certain sect of people who believe in Judo, Christian, or Islamic policies, we are the Hamites if we are quote unquote Africans. So, what do you think about that, Mika and Willie Daniels?
Well, you said we are the Hamites. Is that according to biblical
Yeah,
or
it's from a Judo Christian Islamic perspective,
okay,
and that curse, in my opinion, has made our life a living hell as African or darker skinned people. And
right,
what happened is it happens because the biblical story was misconstrued and it became a story of we are cursed because this is why I said the other day on Dr. Mayat, we'll always feel despised and rejected because of the so-called Hamitic myth. No matter what you do, and Ola Uda Equiano, let me tell a quick story real quickly about Ola Uda Equiano. Equiana felt if he was free, he bought his freedom, and he felt if he did the things that the quote-unquote white folks did, because in his own writings, he said he always wanted to be like white people. All right, I could pull up the quote if anybody hasn't seen it. I could pull it up right now. What happened is, once he became free, he felt if he did the things that white folks did, he would be better off in society. So he had a doctor friend that he thought he was his friend, who encouraged him to go to the Mosquito Islands, right, which is like near Nicaragua in Central America. And he went to Jamaica, got some slaves, his own countrymen, he said, like the Igbos and all these people from Libya, which was called Africa at that time. And he felt by helping his doctor friend to start his plantation. Remember, this is a gentleman that says, his plantation life was wicked and coming off the slave ship was wicked and all that stuff. But all of a sudden, he's free. He want to be the same people he's complaining about in his book. So now he became from the slave to the slave trader. And what happened to him now while he was Mosquito Island, he was supposed to get paid and never got paid. So he said, I would like to go back to England. While he was going back to the UK, he went on a ship with a white guy, and the white guy ended up stringing him up to hang him. This is when he was free. So when people said that this guy, this is why I know the guy, I won't call his name today for the sake of Black History Month and unity. This is why I know a lot of people have not read Ola Uda Equiano's book. The guy wanted to be white. He dressed up as a white man and went to court to represent a black guy, his friend Innis. A lot of people have never heard that before. It's in his book. He dressed up as a white man and made his face white because he felt being white is the best way for success in the world. So now when he got strung up to be hung while he was a free man, I think that's where it hit him in his head like, oh man, so you mean I'm free and I'm making money? He's even lending white folks money, the little money he had, and they refused to pay him back because you couldn't take white people to court and try to get your money back. So they ain't paying back. So he feels if he's fit into the white world, this is what would have happened to him. And a lot of people don't understand. Ola Uda Equiana is what we would call today a Class A sellout. We would call him that. But after he got strung up, he got everything is everything. He got that NIGGA wake-up call. His name is Ola Uda Equiana. He's the reason why Garfield is in America right now. So shout out to him for that. Without Ola Uda Equiana, the abolitionist movement wouldn't have succeeded in a timely fashion, in my opinion, as it would, because what happened is his book was not meant for a black audience. It really was meant for a white audience, because he is trying to appeal to white people saying slavery is so wicked, but they never had a perspective from someone who was actually on the ships. So Thomas Clarkson had a bet, pretty much a bet with a guy saying, I'm going to produce this Negro who's going to give such and such a such point of view. And that's when he came out with his book like a year later. He was the first black man to ever self-publish his book. And he benefits from that. And he made a lot of money from his books. One key point about his book, I must point out to the brothers and sisters who call themselves Hebrew Israelites, who like to use him as a source. He claimed to be an Igbo in his first edition of his book. After the first edition, from the 2nd to the 9th edition, he removed the term Igbo. And you got to ask yourself this, if he's self-publishing his book, why did he remove that he was an Igbo? So you got to start asking yourself, is this guy for real? But anyway, I do want to say that Equiano realized when he got strung up, he wanted to go back to England, and he jumped and joined the abolitionist movement with vigor. Because remember, he was released as a slave, I think 1766. 1773, he's on that ship, And that's when on the ship he tells them he was born in South Carolina. That's what he told them at the age of 28. At the age of 9, between 9 and 12, he told him on the ship he was also born in South Carolina. Now, when he writes his book, he now comes out and said, my name is Ola Uda Equiano, and I was born in Igbo land at a place called Nsukka. For the first time ever, he came and said that. That year was the first year he actually used that name, Equiano. So this is why you have to ask yourself, based on the evidence, is this guy really born in Africa, or was he born in the United States? But I will say this to the public that's listening. He was an African, period. There's no doubt in my mind he's an African. Whether he's an African American or an African, he played a major role. And I'm going to show you how the white folks treated him. When he wrote the book, they made him in charge of the group to supervise blacks moving back to Africa. They gave him that role. He earned that. White folks say, here you go, man. You did a good job for us. Here you go. Thomas Clarkson wanted to end slavery. And I got some stuff from the museum in the Port and Dock Museum. I forgot the name of it right now. In the UK, I have some exclusive pictures of Thomas Clarkson and how he felt about the slave trade. He felt it was the worst thing ever. He came over on a ship, and how he was describing it, and I don't know if anybody has looked into this. What he said may have been the same things that Equiano said in his book. Very interesting point, something to think about. But anyway, I will say that because of the abolitionist movement, people like myself are able to actually be here today. So I thank Ola Uda Equiano either way, yes or no. He did a great job in spearheading some things with the abolitionist movement, and I give thanks to that. But if your name is Ola Uda Equiano, why did you sign your will, Gustavo Vassa? Why did you get married to your wife and name yourself Gustavo Vassa? This is after his book, by the way. Why did you name your 2 children Vassa? So those are the things that make you say to yourself, so if your name is Ola Uda Equiano, why don't you change everything to Ola Uda Equiano? And if your story is true, how comes we don't know your name of your mother, your father, or your sister? But you remember all these little things of your father getting marked in the face, but you don't remember other things that are relevant to your life. Worst case scenario, I know my mother's name. I know Aunt Zira's name, and I know Daddy Marcus' name. Those 2 names will stay with me for the rest of my life, no matter what age I am. My sister's name, very important. My brother's name, those are the people around me. But he never states their name in his book. It makes you think to yourself, what is he doing? But I'm not here to bash on him because it's Black History Month. But I love the brother for doing what he did, because he allowed people like Marcus Garvey. He allowed people like people here in America to be free. All right.
So let me ask you this, Garfield. Are you questioning his existence, or are you questioning the writing of the book could be flawed of his books?
No. The book is controversial. The book to me is largely a book to help with the abolitionist movement.
Okay.
And that's what the purpose was it for. Whether it's true or not, it played a role in advancing that. And whoever got the speaker on, man, Lionel, you always, let me see if that's Lionel. Yeah, man, always Lionel. Fix your background, brother. Fix your sound.
Is it good now?
Yeah, you're better.
Okay.
So the reason why I asked you that, Garfield, is because you hear of the story of you made me have a blank right there, Garfield, that everybody said was fake. What was the of the slave masters? What was his name? From God, you killed me right now. I had it right there, Garfield, and I lost it.
What, Nat Turner?
No, not Nat Turner. On how to treat your slaves. There was a
The Willie Lynch letter. That's what you're talking about.
Thank you. The Willie Lynch. For years, I thought it was real. But then I hear stories of it's just a story that someone wrote. So that when you say that the person never mentioned his mother or father or mentioned the closest people to him, would that kind of like throw a question in there? Is this a
Yeah,
actual
because when you look at the people who are writing these things, everything that's written has a purpose.
right?
And I say that because its purpose was basically to to free us,
Okay.
to set it in motion that we are enslaved as a people, and we need evidence of this slave trade from an actual person who was a slave. So it played a role in telling white folks what went on.
Okay.
And that's what the movement was lacking. It was hearing all these stories from people who were here who never was on a slave trade, but they were on a plantation. But hearing it from somebody who actually experienced it was bigger and huge. So that was the purpose of Equiano.
All right, gotcha. Now you mentioned a little while ago about the mark of the beast.
Hmm. Judaism.
Yes,
Hmm.
and and I've seen a video from Home Team. He did a video on that, the mark of the beast, the misconception of it, and how the world took it and made us all made the hue of our skins our enemy, right? And a lot of people know this. A lot of us know it, but majority of us don't know it because they're disconnected from it. During this month, do you think that there's a way to actually connect the younger generations a little more in depth with African history without how can I put it? Without scaring them?
We care more about making money than learning about our history for real because we've been miseducated. So if you all are not teaching us how to get money and stuff like that, we pretty much not, it's not an interest to us.
Well, I mean, people that's poor, that's their primary concern is to not be poor, right?
Yeah, but the majority of my generation, we care about getting that bag.
I get
Yeah,
it.
I think most of us as human beings are forgetting our goals in life. Sometimes I'll be screening through people's YouTube channels and I'm like, what is our goal? Is our goal to put our information? One of my goals is to put our information, right? And I remember years ago, when I'm teaching economics and so forth, I'm telling people how they could get the corporate card, American Express, and get the Divvy card and all that stuff. And I'm like saying to myself, I'm doing all this stuff for myself as an example. I'm wondering if the people, because there's some people that actually listen to me real hard. People would call me through and say, Garfield, just to let you know, this is my boy on the line. He used the information from your video and his credit is 800. And it makes me feel like actually somebody actually listened. And I think our goals have fallen off. Instead of we trying to drag this guy down, and I hope sometimes I may have fallen into this trap in saying, hey, you are wrong, I'm refuting you. But it seems like instead of refuting other brothers and sisters, we're trying to drag them into a hole at the same time. Like, you know what, your information wrong, but I found out you are gay, you are homosexual on the side. You understand what I'm saying? It's like we just trying to drag people down to the point where we want to make them null and void. And I
Yeah,
think
you're right.
we have
Because
lost our
And that's
goal.
it.
We have
Garfield,
lost our goals right now. And I
I
think
I
I think
started a
hold on, let me finish.
business.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I think we have lost our perspective as humans. So maybe in Black History Month, I'm hoping, or forever, that people would pay attention to what they do as a community. I'm trying to figure out what is each individual's goal. Is it to basically saying I want to be the best father I can be? I want to make sure my legacy, my children are well off after I die. They won't have to set up a GoFundMe for their dad because you know what?
Mm,
Their dad wasn't a selfish bastard and didn't get life insurance. He made sure he had life insurance paid the policy until he died to make sure that you don't have to set up a GoFundMe on Facebook and say, oh, man, I need to bury Garfield. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that my legacy and my children are well off and learn something from me so they could carry on a legacy for their children. So I'm saying to you guys, what is our motive even as human beings who are watching these channels? Because it seems like without us, these channels wouldn't succeed. It's crazy. But anyway, go ahead, beloved.
So do you remember this is when I was watching you on Facebook. You made a statement about being a selfish man if you didn't have life insurance to protect yourself when you die. Do you remember making that statement?
Yes, sir. I call him a selfish bastard. Yes,
I was listening to you. That day, I went and got life insurance on everybody in my family, including myself. Everybody, my sons, my daughters, because none of us had it. And I thought that was critical when you said that. It was critical to me because if I drop dead tomorrow, I put my burden on them. On top of that, I started a business behind some other stuff that you said that it just rattled my cage. It rattled my cage to the point where all of my kids have their own business now. They're not doing super great, but they can, put clothes on their back and put gas in their car as they build it. So me saying that, just listening to you when you're thinking that people are not listening, you've had some impact on other people. And I appreciate that.
Thank you, my brother. What's up, Queen?
Yeah, that's a big.
I know. Hold on. A matter of fact, go ahead, Sabia, because you came on before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a big fact because you and Monica helped me start my business. Y'all helped my credit out a little bit, and you inspire people to do things that they didn't think they were gonna do. And my agenda, that was the question that was asked yesterday and the other day. What is our purpose? And my purpose is to help our people better understand this information. I'm not here for no type of fame, no glory, none of that. I just want my people to learn how to fact check information and figure out which way to go with this stuff. It's 2022 and we got to stop playing these games with each other, and I'm going to end on that. Peace.
All right. Black Lion Supreme.
Hotel family.
Hold on.
How you guys doing?
I don't know how to pin the link. Y'all probably got to. Y'all know I'm technologically deficient, so don't even ask me to pin no link. That's a waste of time. Whenever somebody wants a link, I'll put it in the chat. Let me try and pin it right now. Go ahead, Black Lion.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on what you're saying. I heard the brother said the young brother say it's about getting the bag, and I agree with him. But it's not just about getting the bag; it's about creating a means that you can create your own bag. You see, getting the bag just furthers this country and its agenda. It just furthers white supremacy. It just keeps that motor going. We want to be able to create our own bags, so we don't have to depend on this European system. We can depend on ourselves. We want our own World Bank. We want to be able to loan our own people money. We want to be able to create housing for our own people. And so when Garfield shows you about your credit, and other people show you about the stock market, and others show you about self-employment, what they're doing is trying to show that we can do this for ourselves and to create avenues that create revenue for ourselves, so we don't have to depend on anyone else. That's the ultimate goal. That should be our ultimate goal. Not just getting the bag, but creating infrastructures that create revenue for ourselves. That's the most important thing to me. And one thing I want to say about Black History Month, this month has been more valuable in the last couple of years because of people like Garfield, because of people like Goddess Ma'at and others who are doing programs and showing information that the mainstream doesn't show. The mainstream just tries to push up all the good things Martin Luther King said about little black boys and little black girls holding hands and try to kumbaya us to death. And then after the month is over, even before it's over, they right back to their old tricks. The month is over, so they right back to doing what they do. And what I like about what Garfield is doing, he with the 20 scholars that he brought on last February, and the programs that others are bringing on, we're learning more and more about our history, which is very important. So I've enjoyed the past couple of Black History Months because of people like Garfield, people like Dr. Ma'at, people like Unc, and others who are putting on shows that go deep into our history and not just a bunch of propaganda being pushed out by the mainstream. I just like to thank y'all for that, and go ahead, y'all. Peace.
All
I
right, thank
agree.
you, bro.
I agree.
Appreciate that. Let's get Black Queen Cheetah in the building, man. What's up, Queen?
Hey, peace, everybody. Peace to the chat and the panel. I just want to be real quick. Just following up because I was listening in. I think it's important that everybody understands that, you know, as Black people as a race, we've been programmed to be, a certain way, to think a certain way, to act towards one another a certain way. And, a lot of y'all brought up the fact of, getting money and creating generational wealth and all of that good stuff, right? And that's all good too. But I think what we tend to forget too is like the core issues of why we are the way that we are as a race. Um, of course we know how we got here, but I think now in the year of 2022, we have to start taking accountability somewhat for what's the word I'm looking for where we are right now as a whole, because we see a lot of the tearing each other down, and if you don't believe in this, then I'm gonna bash you for that, or if you gay, I'm gonna bash you for that, or whatever the case may be. And especially right now, we don't have time to be bashing one another. What it should be about is how we can come together and all bring our services, whatever it may be, individually to the forefront and make it work for all of us as a whole. You know, I understand that we gonna want to have these debates, about religion. We gonna want to have these debates about all these other things. But what about the issues of why we are the way that we are? Why we treat one another the way that we are? Why we don't support one another the way that we should? Black women don't support Black men as they should, and vice versa. Um, when are we going to start taking accountability for our actions and the reason why we can't move forward as a race? I don't know where everybody else live, but where I live, the Arabs is buying up everything. I mean, these people got, in a matter of, I want to say, maybe I'll just say an estimate of 2 years, these people have opened up like 5 grocery stores in the vicinity of a couple of miles, literally literally 5 grocery stores within 5 to 10 minutes of each other at best, literally. And I mean full-fledged grocery stores right up in the hood. These Arabs opened this shit like 1 minute you seen them build it in, the next thing you seen grand opening. And then we complain, oh, they come in here and they buying up everything, da 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 da. But when you have black people that may come to, another black person with the idea, it's every reason in the book as to why it may not work or as to why we can't get it to work or whatever. So we have to realize that we have to start taking accountability and recognizing where we are flawed at, and have awareness of that and correct it. And what I'm saying is we need to teach both our black boys and black girls how to love one another, and not even just the youth, but the adults too, because that's where it starts. We as adults don't know how to love each other in the healthiest and proper way. You only know what you saw or what was taught to you. So then now we passing that down to our children. And then, you'll hear grown women say, "Oh, these men ain't shit, and these men ain't this, and or these women's is hoes, and they ain't shit, and they." But why are they ain't shit, or why they like that? We raising them ain't shit niggas and them ain't shit bitches. So in order for us to have ain't shit niggas and bitches, we have, excuse my language, I'm sorry, y'all. We have to take accountability and correct our our ways and our actions. And what I see a lot in the community, and it's very sad, but we are quick to judge one another as opposed to being supportive of one another or helping a hand. That stigma of black people can't get black people don't go to counseling, that needs to be destigmatized. I think every black person needs to have a therapist, whether you get a black one or a white one, whatever. But I believe that every black person needs a therapist. That in itself is another big major issue in the black community, is mental health. We will laugh at people that have mental health issues, or when we see men that get emotional, we'll laugh at them and call them simps and all sorts of shit, instead of it being that we supporting them and recognizing that men have fucking emotions just as much as they women do. Why are we faulting them or downing them or demasculating them because they are showing their emotion? So with all of that being said, I hope that within this day and age, we get better at being supportive of one another, because we don't know what a person is going through. And you don't know if someone has a support system or not. And the problem is that, we'll keep saying, "Oh, it take a village, it take a village." But then that same village will be the same ones passing judgment on you, talking shit about you behind your back, and all sorts of shit. And that is what has to stop, because then what happens is you have that happen, and we already as black people have trust issues. So now that's going to make you have even more trust issues, because you don't know who to turn to. So I hope that, we can, as a whole, regardless of our beliefs, your sexual orientation, um, you know, regardless of all these other labels, that we can put everything aside and figure out how we can come together and be supportive of one another. I would love to see that black women support black men more, and black men support black women more, and stop downing one another. And if, someone is, stating that, "Hey, I need help," or, "I'm in a fucked up place and, I'm depressed," or whatever the case may be, help them. Be supportive. Don't down them when they are, don't kick them when they down, and don't down them even more when they don't need that. I just hope that Black history kind of jumps y'all off to really practicing, our Kwanzaa principles, and really being supportive of one another, because, we need that. We need that Black family, that Black Trinity, and where everyone as a whole feels supported and loved. That's all I'm
All
gonna
right.
say.
Thank you, sis. Asari Motep, what's on your mind, beloved?
Very well said, sis. Thanks. Go ahead.
Yay, Asar's on
Testing,
here.
testing. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you always
Yes,
come on here
sir.
with your super mic. You got your super mic
Hotep
today?
Asar. Hotep.
Yeah, man. You know, I gotta have the podcast mic, you know.
All right, that's what's up.
Yeah,
What's on your
man.
mind, beloved?
Yeah, so I don't have long today, but I just want to, since the topic is Black History Month, to remind people, you know, the kind of the history of Black History Month briefly and what its purpose actually is. And there, you know, it's not common knowledge, but you know, every year I choose to remind us, you know, why Black History Month, you know, exists. And so, you know, it should be known that Black History Month started out as Negro History Week. And it was created by, you know, the late Dr. Carter G. Woodson. But what many people don't know is that Negro History Week, aka now Black History Month, it wasn't supposed to be about discussing necessarily as if it was new information, where you know, where you kind of just celebrate Black achievements and or, you know, to tell historical events. And so what I'm going to read is just a, you know, like 2 sentences from an article written by Carter G. Woodson from 1927, page 105 of the Journal of Negro History. And so Dr. Woodson informs us that Negro History Week is the week set aside by the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History for the purpose of emphasizing what has already been learned about the Negro during the year. I'm going to repeat it. Negro History Week is the week set aside by the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History for the purpose of emphasizing what has already been learned about the Negro during the year. So it's part like of a curriculum thing. So you're supposed to be learning about Black history all throughout the year. Then you come during Negro History Week, now aka Black History Month, and you discuss what you learn. You summarize what you've learned throughout the year or done throughout the year. So this is where you're supposed to be putting together your reports and or having this discussion, kind of summarizing and linking all of those things together. So it's part of a curriculum of a year-long discourse about the achievements and future of African people. And so I think, you know, we can expand that, of course, but it in my opinion, Black History Month needs to always be grounded in this. Like this can't go nowhere. Like and so it emphasizes this need for the study of African people, of Black people all year round. So we have to create curriculums so that, you know, for those who are, you know, students and coming up, they can now get on platforms like this and present about what they learned throughout the year. So when people say that they only gave us this small month to discuss Black people and Black history, that's farthest from the truth. You're supposed to be learning all year round. You're supposed to summarize in this month. And so that's all I had on that. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, thank you, bro.
Mm.
Sorry, before you go, you got a conference coming up, and then you have another event. I don't know if you have the flyer on your computer. You could share both of them, but also, you wrote a book, and you gave an idea that I don't hear people stress about, or people carrying on that message about what African Americans should call themselves or what they should be following. I don't remember what the name of it is. I don't know how to pronounce it. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Alrighty. Well, firstly, let me address your what you were talking about there. So let me do this. Alrighty, I'll share my screen. And so y'all tell me if y'all can see the screen.
Yep, there you go.
I can see it.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Yep. Can see it.
So what Brother Garfield was talking about was basically two conferences that are coming up in a few weeks. And so the first one is the West Africa and Beyond, Ancient Nubian and Egyptian Interconnections with the Niger Valley and Atlantic World. That will be held on the 15th and 16th. It is a virtual conference. And so I believe it's 8 countries involved in terms of people where they're from in their representation of scholars. I am one of the presenters for that that day. So there's going to be Dr. Abdul Salahu, Dr. Shamarka Keita, Dr. Mahmoudou Nasir Sar, Dr. Ivis Victor Ngono, of course, Dr. Jahi Issa and Dr. Salam Faraji, who put on the events. There's Dr. Oman Digi, a well-known Egyptologist and linguist. 2 PhD candidates. The first one is the sister Adisa Malvousine, and the other one is Lamine Baji. He's actually from Senegal. The other sister's from Canada. Brother Reggie, Dr. Sandro Capocici, and Andrew Jaggs, PhD. And he did his PhD in Egyptology in London. And so he's going to be talking about between the Nile and Niger, exploring ritual affinities between the Yoruba and ancient Egyptian. And that's based off his dissertation as well. So it's a virtual conference. It's $35 for each day. And so to find out more, go to westafricabeyond.org for more information. And then lastly, there is the One Africa Returning to the Source Conference, which is going to be 2 days as well, February the 25th and 26th of 2022. And it's going to be a part of an entire tour that is going on, held by Aket Tours, which is the brainchild of Brother Taki Grant, who is the producer of the award-winning documentary film titled Hoppy, and the role of economics in the development of civilization. I believe the subtitle. So besides the 8 or 9 day tour, there is the 2-day conference, and presenting at that conference is Anthony Browder, Dr. Bayena Bello, Professor James Small, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, Dr. Leonard Jeffries' wife, Dr. Solange Ashby, who's an Egyptologist and Nubiologist. Our good brother Jabari Osaze is going to be hosting. I think he may be presenting something too. Dr. Joyce King, a well-known educator. Dr. Vera Nobles, you may know her husband, Dr. Wade Nobles. Brother Infudishi Jehudi Mess, of course, your brother Asar Imhotep, and Dr. Teofal Obenga. So it's going to be a very powerful set of presentations on a variety of topics. And it is also going to be online and streamed. And I don't know what the price is. I think it's $50, so it's basically $25 a day. So you can go to hoppyfilm.com and find out more information. So I'll end my sharing there. And I'm sorry, what was the so yeah, I remember the question. So the book that you were talking about was a book that I published in 2008, titled The Bacala of North America. Oops, my alarm. Is titled The Bacala of North America, The Living Sons of Vitality. And it is a suggestion for an ethnic identity label for African Americans. And I have since switched the names, because the name was Bacala. Ba meaning it's just a noun class prefix of plural humans. The root word is kala. I have since changed it to Nkole, and then you can say Ba Nkole in terms of the people itself. And the word Nkole is a word for a powerful or eminent person or being. It is cognate with the word Necher in ancient Egyptian, and so when you pluralize it, the Ba Nkole, so it's the powerful and eminent people. And so I'll be doing an update to that text in the near future, with the new name suggestion. So it is providing a name suggestion and my reasons for it, and defense for a new ethnic identifier, one that is grounded in African culture and African languages. And so that's it in a nutshell.
All right. Beautiful.
Asar, let me say something right quick about the prices that you have. For those who think that $35 or $25 a day is kind of high, but when the Europeans put on these kind of conferences like Biblical Scholars, the ticket price is $300. $300. So keep that in mind. Let's support our family that's putting on these presentations for us. It's very important information that they're going to bring. So please, let's support them, and just keep that in mind if you think that $25 or $35 is a high price. Go ahead, y'all.
All right, I got Sister Miss Tiffany. What's up, Miss Tiffany? What's on your mind, sis? Calling Miss Tiffany. Calling, going once, going twice. I guess she probably got caught up. Let me see who else is on the panel. I got Sabio. Sabio, you didn't go yet. Go ahead, Sabio. No, Sabio did go already. Lionel, did you go already?
Well, not on the Black History Month subject yet.
All right, go ahead.
All right. I want to say happy Black History Month to everybody on here. And what I'd like to say is, first and foremost, I'm very proud of Brother Garfield with his, because over the years, I saw his, progression on, Sonetta as the guy who was literally beating the brakes off everybody. And I'm very proud of the fact that you pushed that book out, the misconceptions and misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites. I gave a copy to my grandmother, who is a Christian. And one thing that I want to, bring out is there's another reason why, I'm proud of you, Garfield, is because, in my opinion, you stand on the shoulders of great Afro-Caribbeans such as J.A. Rogers, the great Barbasian, George Padmore, not Richard B. Moore, I should say. You come out of that, and a lot of us don't know about the Afro-Caribbean contribution to Afro-American thought. Even, I could even say that you stand on the shoulders of France Fanon. And one thing that I want to say, what I'm doing for Black History Month is one thing I got going is I'm doing an independent research project with my professor at my university. And another thing that I'm honestly gonna start doing is I'm gonna buy at least 300 or maybe 50 copies of Carter G. Woodson's The Miseducation of the Negro and pass that out for free to the brothers and sisters on my campus because I am a firm believer of what Frederick Douglass said. He said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults. And as Mao Zedong said, the youth are the future and we are the ones that's gonna carry the torch. That's what I wanted to say.
All right, Miss Tiffany, you available?
Oh, one last thing. Could I say one last thing? I forgot.
Yeah, go ahead.
One last thing, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
make this as quick as possible. As Africans across the diaspora, we got to get out of these tribalistic culture war arguments. Because as Frantz Fanon says in his book, The Wretched of the Earth, under a system of colonialism / white supremacy, tribalism is enforced. I'm done now.
All right, cool. Sister Tiffany, the floor. When I say Sister Tiffany, all of a sudden thunder jumped
Yeah,
on. I
Lord.
don't know what.
Can y'all hear
Leave that
me?
woman alone. Leave that woman alone, my brother. Let's
Oh
not let's
boy.
let's have a positive Black History Month, bro. Come on,
Yes.
man. Leave that woman alone.
Can I
If
be
you don't
heard?
want Garfield, yeah. If you don't
Yes, we
want
can hear you.
Garfield on
Okay.
your wrong side, bro, leave Tiffany alone. If you don't want
Oh,
Garfield on your wrong
stop.
side,
My
go ahead,
gosh.
Sister Tiffany. Go ahead, sis.
So what am I supposed to be saying now? Because I'm also busy, but I really wanted to partake. So
Okay,
what
so
am I?
it's
What is the
Black History
question or
Month.
whatever?
Black History
Yeah.
Month. What does it mean to you?
Oh well, I was gonna go in a little bit of a different direction because I think he said something about what we should be doing or something. So
Yes, yes, yes.
I would hope that the day would come when we can celebrate people like James Baldwin in this community,
Hmm.
um, without, I don't know, whatever shame is over what a person's sexual preference is. I think that we need to grow beyond that because there's a lot of people that have contributed to our movement overall that don't even get recognized in these spaces. And I just hope that we can move to a mature point in our growth and celebrate those individuals like James Baldwin and others.
Yeah, there's a brother in the civil rights movement. One of Martin
Look,
Luther
there's
King's
a
right hand. Yeah, he's I
yes.
forgot his name slipped me now. He
Bayard
is
Rustin.
being arrested, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, years ago I wouldn't be supporting you, just to say that as a Jamaican man. But
Right, right.
I'm more, it's a multicultural, pluralistic society that we live in, and I'm getting around to that edge where, I could say I'm in America, and you're free to be as you are, and free to be even in Jamaica right now. You're free to do as you like. So at the end of the day, I mean, to each his own.
Yeah,
To
but
each
shouldn't
his
it be
own,
about their
and that should.
accomplishments? Because we're not talking about people's sexuality.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
who
yeah. That's the
cares?
point. That's the
So
point. That's
it
the
should
point.
really, the
That's the
point
point.
is what was their contribution to, our community, our group, our people. So I wanted to say that. Also, you said somebody mentioned something earlier about life insurance. I'm big on that too, Garfield. So
Hmm.
congratulations to the brother who went out and got his whole family signed up. So it would be great, to celebrate. Maybe there could be a mass sign up. Maybe that's how we can celebrate every February is having a mass sign up of life insurance in our communities and possibly even more of us buying land when we see it
Hmm.
online, these different groups going to buy land and I just think those are some things that I would like to see us do more as a community to really kind of force us out of this mental state of victimhood and do something outside the box that we haven't done that is going to be good for us. So
But
that's what I
yeah,
wanted to contribute.
let me add on to what Sister Tiffany is saying, because what happened is, and let me pose this question to my brother Asar. You don't think that the understanding of the term ham in the biblical text, or the misunderstanding of that term that carried on to the Islamic world and You know, even the Portuguese were quoting that, yeah, these people are descendants of Canaan, so they deserve to be enslaved. I'm of the personal belief, and based on David Goldenberg's work, he actually went through a whole. He's a cognate linguistic specialist for Hebrew, and he's saying that the term Ham was actually mistranslated because of the wrong root word or trilateral root. I don't have it. I mean, I couldn't bring it up, but he basically broke it down and said the word don't mean hot or black, which is not the argument. But I think that term and that misunderstanding of that term has led to us being despised and rejected for years, thousands of years. And how do we move forward from it? Should we change the story? Should we change the understanding of that term? I mean, what do we do? Because even 10 years from now, bro, we still gonna be looked at as as people who are Ham, because the majority of the people in the world are Judo Christian or Islamic background.
Well, I don't think that the interpretation of the word itself, you know, has much to do with the disdain and association with it, because you know, when you're given these labels, people aren't really looking for the meaning of the words. They just understand it as a label for a certain group of people. And uh so, you know, the Bible and the writers and the ethnic group for which it is supposed to be documenting, you know, their story or their coming into being, they only come into being anti everybody else.
Mhm.
You know, so no matter what the name was, they were going to be anti you. It could have been, you know, the label could have been 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we would have been, you know, despised as being 1, 2, 3, 4. It really doesn't matter. You know, the whole, you know, Ham is you know, really Kim and hot. That's just, you know, more folk etymology.
You don't think saying that these people are cursed black with big noses and thick lips, you don't think that Africans in a whole have been cursed forever just because of that mindset, that thinking? That's why we should be enslaved?
No, because we got to understand the history and culture of enslavement. It has nothing to do necessarily with you being black. They enslave everyone. Like, you know, before Europeans got off the continent and started interacting with everybody else, they were enslaving, you know, we would
One another,
consider
right.
them with enslaving themselves. You know, they don't big up, to use your language, uh the people that they are enslaving. You know, like when we, for example, when we talk about Greece and Sparta, for example. So we love that film 300, right? You know, has some dope graphics, some dope slow motion fighting and all of that. But when you really get into the story about the Spartans, one, they were gay as hell. Two, they were like the number one slave folks. But in the movie, they're sitting up there fighting, you know, against their own enslavement. And so it makes it it's propaganda that, you know, we are fighting for freedom and all of this other kind of stuff. Meanwhile, they have a whole bunch of their whole economy is built off of slavery. And the people that you know, of that time, but they're all white people. And so they have derogatory terms for them and all of that. And when the Romans was enslaving all the other, you know, folks around them, it's the same thing. So they weren't going to treat you any different because you're African. Now, because there's such a large contrast between the phenotypes in terms of nose index, in terms of skin color, hair texture, that just gives them, you know, more things to distinguish and separate them from us. And so it's while it's convenient, that's not the motivation. You know, they've been enslaving, and that's just what they do. And people who do oppression, who do enslavement, and the things like that, they try to find the most, you know, unique differences and try to harp on that. So it's the same thing with the Tutsi and the Hutu, the Igbos and the Yoruba, you know, you know, the Xhosa and Amazulu, you know, back in the day. They're, you know, for us, they're all black people. Like, what are y'all talking about? The Egyptians and the Nubians, and you know, it's so, you know, every group that has an, you know, an open enemy, they of course they do not speak lovingly of them, and they create these mythologies about the other, you know, to inform, you know, their people of who their enemy is and why that their enemy, and they start making these particular types of distinctions, that oftentimes, of course, is not grounded in truth, and is that way so that, you know, you feel a certain type of way when the mere name is brought up. And so, you know, the Bible is just anti-African from the get, in terms of just ritual, in terms of thought, in terms of conceptualizations of the divine, in terms of culture, and, you know, in terms of agriculture. It's just all kind of shots being thrown throughout the text that, you know, is more than beyond. So what people did later with the whole Ham story, you know, that whatever that Jewish sect was, you know, that's just a continuation of their anti, because they can't define themselves, they can't be the best versions of themselves without being anti someone else. And that should tell you more about them and their character than anything else, in my opinion.
All right. Hold on, and let me see who is on the
Big
panel.
facts.
Thunder, what's up, Thunder? It's all yours, man. And after that, Queen Cheetah.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Garfield? You good, man?
I'm great, brother. I'm great, man. Living my best life as usual. You know, you see me over there in Berrien every day, man. You know what it is.
Listen, man. I'm glad you're over there, man. But I'm glad they accepted you too, man. It was very shocking to see. But yeah, I think you conducting yourself pretty cool, man. So that's why they rolling with you. You ain't beating them up over there. Miss Tiffany, why you like, what's going on with you and James Baldwin? Like, what about James Baldwin that we don't know that you think we should know? Is she gone?
She said she was busy too. So.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right. Yeah.
No, she's just saying that his contribution. I mean, we know him from certain interviews and his writing about Malcolm X and so forth. But
yeah, what else did he do? That's what I'm saying. Like, did he do something
He
else?
was
I don't know.
he was one of the greatest Afro-American theoreticians, you know, in the world. That's what he's known for.
Very well spoken.
Hey, I mean, Sabia, hold on 1 second, brother. Let me get this brother here. Right? I didn't realize he was waiting. Let me get Avery in here for a second. Avery, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Oh, let me share this screen 1 second. Then I'm a chill.
Yeah. So you're still talking about James Baldwin?
No, I'm talking about Black history. Well, what I'm doing, I think the title is what you're doing for Black History Month, right?
Yes.
Oh, you want to do the introduction and get into it later?
No. Go ahead and talk. Okay. What you gotta say. Go ahead.
Thunder is funny. He came on here to start.
What happened? What I do, Mika? What you talking about?
Go ahead, go.
All right.
I want to beat up Asar.
Oh, I ain't beating. No,
you want to beat up
Asar. Matter of fact, before we get to that, Asar, hey man, I hope you and Zion y'all end this thing peacefully, bro. Y'all need to chill out, man.
Peacefully? What do you mean peacefully?
I mean, not fisticuffs. I'm just saying, hey man, just agree to disagree, and let's move on, man. Hey, but so this is what I'm doing for Black History Month. This is something I saw on Instagram yesterday. I shared this with my little boy, and we have an account set up where we just save different memes and stuff we apply for the future. So I can't blow it up, so hopefully y'all can see it. But yeah, this is something I think everybody should screenshot it. Maybe take this and kind of build on this. I think it's a good blueprint. So it basically it's surrounding just black, point blank, just being black and supporting black. So share an old family photo, affirm a black child, call and check in on an elder, create a family tree. That's something I need to do. Thank a black woman. That's something we all need to do. Write a letter to an ancestor. Of course, veneration is a big part of African history. Purchase an item from a black-owned business. Find and visit a black landmark in your city. And so forth and so on. So just kind of get around. I don't know, just a black experience and just celebrating us, man. So I would say, y'all, take a screenshot and just, if apply it or build on it. That's it. Yeah. But I ain't been. Hey,
Asar. That's a nice screenshot. Let me screenshot this.
Yeah,
quick.
Go ahead.
I like this.
Yeah. So Asar, man, hey, y'all straight, man? Is he going?
Yeah, they straight.
Okay. If who's straight? What are you talking? Who said they wasn't straight?
Exactly.
Why you trying to start stuff on
I'm not starting it, dog. I'm just saying.
That's all you doing, bro.
You shut up, Black Lion. I'm not talking to you.
You need to chill. You need to chill, Thunder.
All right.
Stop the madness, bro.
Hey, how you been, man? You good?
I'm good.
Man, I love you.
I got Bobby West in the building. What's up, Bobby West? They took away. Why you changed? They took away your name, Unc. I haven't been around to find out what happened. What happened?
Nah, I changed it when Sean and McKeck and the Saul Hotep start believing in aliens.
Oh man! Come on, leave Asar alone. Asar right here, man. What are you talking about?
Man.
But listen what I'm saying, man. I enjoy Black History Month because that's when everybody seems to be interested in it. So I enjoy it. But it's my time to bang on the bullshit, black people. That's what I do for Black History Month. So my thing is I'm banging on Coup de Moutoir for playing the alien game debauchery on black people. Simple as that. Like what he left in the world about the aliens and the reptilians is disrespectful. So, if you trying to play that game, right? Oh, nah, I don't want to hear that. Don't play with me. Pickle Man. Boy, that's it. You start talking about Pickle Man and the reptilians, ain't no scholarship in that, bro. So, nope.
So what about Planet X and all that stuff, man? Wait. You banging on that too?
The flying alligators. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Wait, can I ask my question before Bobby go in?
Okay.
I ain't going in.
Because, you touching on something I want to say. So,
go ahead.
Asar. Asar, you one of my favorite in these YouTube streets.
Stop it.
You one of my favorite in these YouTube streets. So, I'm coming for everybody. So, how do we know what scholars to use? Because, some people, they use a lot of European scholars. I mean, they said colors don't have no truth or whatever. But I'm just putting out there, how do we pick our scholars?
I didn't know Asar was on here. What's up, Asar?
What's up, Bobby Blue Bland? Well, it's for me, it's all boils down to the quality of the work. It's the logic of the arguments. It's the flow of the narrative and the deeper points that they're trying to make. It's the quality of the source material that they use. And if, for example, and this goes back to logic again, does the conclusion necessarily follow or the result of the premises which led to the conclusion? And some of this stuff, I know I'm using these words and some of this stuff may be relative, but it's really just again, based on the quality of the work. And so now it becomes, okay, what is quality? That really just depends on the subject matter in which you are interested in, you know. And it's just one of those things that you would really have to take just some courses on research methods. And once you start taking courses and just reading texts on research methods in general, and then research methods in the field of study in which you're interested in, then that will help you to get a better sense of who is a quality scholar and who is not. Because now you have a basis in which to measure and a framework in which to contextualize the way that a particular scholar, you know, puts forth their arguments and their depth of knowledge, you know, on the subject matter and the like. So, you know, at some point it's just going to become intuitive. You'll just recognize good scholarship when you see it. And so I'm not the kind of person that is like, you know, you should listen to this person, listen to that person. I can tell you who you definitely should just drop, you know, if their name comes up. But, you know, of course, that's my opinion. And, you know, you may need to learn
No,
that
no, no,
lesson.
no, no. I
You
ain't
know,
letting you off the hook, Asar. You got to name that name. Nah, you got to name that name. Come on. I
Hell
don't want
nah,
that. Nah,
Garfield stupid.
no, no.
Yeah.
Everybody quiet. Everybody quiet. No, Asar, you got to say that name. Nah,
no,
bro.
it
Come
just
on.
it
I don't want
just
to learn.
depends on the subject matter. I'm not saying anyone in particular. I'm
Oh,
just
okay, okay,
saying
okay.
it's because it's not so much because first and foremost, you're never going to find a scholar that has everything right about the subject, because the nature of scholarship itself, it doesn't lend itself to perfection. So you can't expect perfection from
Perfection, right,
the from the scholarship, because you're researching. The purpose of you researching is to expand our knowledge base, and that's going to require some speculation on your part. And it may turn out in the future that
Okay.
this was not
So
accurate, whatever you were speculating on. That doesn't mean that they're a bad scholar. So it's you're going to also have to keep in mind context, available resources, and available knowledge of the time when you're evaluating a scholarship, you know, cultural orientation, uh, you know, there's just a lot of factors that go into it in terms of what is a good and quality scholarship. But for me, in terms of scholarship, you know, there's a level of integrity that you have to have. Like
What about the subject of the etymology of the word Yahweh?
You just have to be knowledgeable about the subject. You can't be.
Are
So
you
this is my
knowledgeable,
thing.
Asar?
Yes, I'm very knowledgeable on this
Okay,
subject.
who's not knowledgeable?
I've been studying this for a number of years, and the problem is that you have individuals who just hear a conclusion and don't know much about the subject itself or the field of study which is involved. This is a linguistic study. You have to be grounded in linguistic research and things to even be able to critique, you know, the means. And so, like, you know, you hear a conclusion that that doesn't resonate with you, and then in 5 minutes you already got a 2-hour video in response.
Black Line,
You
you
know,
told me to stop it, and you gonna amp them up. Come on, man.
I was just curious.
No,
you know,
just
and
curious.
it's this is what I mean by integrity, because integrity will force you to say, you know what, I don't know. That's the heart of being a good scholar, is knowing when you don't know something, and that it's time for me to kind of review some literature and review some arguments. Because when it comes to this etymology of the word Yahweh, one of the first things that I noted is that no one has a grasp on the meaning. And this is why I cited all these sources. showing you that when you read, they provide suggestions, but there are many suggestions
Hey,
on the
Asar,
name.
Asar, it's Garfield.
Uh,
Go
Let
ahead.
me cut you and say this. How many people? I was watching your show when you had like probably like 100 and probably 120, between 110 120 people watching. How many people who was watching your presentation part 1 or part 2 you think actually knew that Yahweh didn't have a definite definition? How many people you think out of the 120 would have
I'm
known that?
when I do my, and unless I explicitly state, when I do my presentations, I expect you to know nothing. That's just
Okay.
how I design
Okay.
my programs. So that's why I provide the text that's, or just based on my research. Damn alarm again. In terms of, letting people know that there is no real consensus, or at least what I would consider consensus. And I always have to tell people there's a difference between a popular opinion and consensus.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, my bad. Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
You know what?
Consensus.
Hold on, Thunder. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay. Yeah, for me, consensus is tabulating the conclusions of the people who actually did the experiments or study.
Facts.
Right? Like if there was 10 researchers who actually went into the lab and did separate experiments on this one research question, then when you look at all 10 of their results, the consensus is the number ones that have come to the same or similar conclusion. That's the
Exactly.
consensus. Popular opinions are the people that have read the research, and they just agree with one or another.
Mhm.
So the popular opinion is just the number of folks that just happen to agree with a certain set of scholars, a scholar, or a school of thought. And that's what people get confused.
I was just finna say that.
Literature.
I was just finna say that people get confused between popular opinion and consensus. And a lot of people will go with the popular opinion over the consensus, and they'll present the popular opinion as if that's the end all be all.
Exactly. So that's why when I did the presentation, I presented some of the popular opinion stuff, but I also made sure that I went to the linguist and like the etymological dictionaries or the other works that the linguist went and got their opinions. And there, there's folks that try to make kind of linguistic arguments because they're familiar with the script and the language, but they're not the same as someone who compile an etymological dictionary. And when you go to all the etymological dictionaries and other things like this, they're saying we don't know. And so when somebody like myself makes a suggestion, I put my hat in the ring. You can't come with your no knowledge of the subject whatsoever and be like, I'm wrong, because this is right over here. And they're saying they don't know. So what I'm doing is presenting emerging research.
Okay.
For which you have to understand in its entire context.
Can I add something to that?
Hold on, Bobby. So Asar, so what you're presenting is basically before you present a perspective, you're basically saying this is your hypothesis regarding this issue. Am I
exactly
correct? Okay. So I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But anyway,
Bobby,
go ahead.
Bobby. On here.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Banger, get it right, from Baltimore. So, okay, here's where everybody always make the mistakes. I want to make 3 concise points. So when you look at myself, right, I'm not a primary researcher. I take the available research and go as far as I can go. I rely on the experts. Okay, so that's the safe way of doing it. I've been around the Saw Hotel for about at least a good 10 years. He's a primary researcher, meaning he's working in the field. So some conclusions that he come up with, you're just not going to agree. They're not going to be readily available to you, and you're going to say that's some bullshit. But you got to give him space to come up with new ideas. If not, then scholarship would never move forward. Everybody can't do that. And so he's not in a safe space. So there are things that conclusions he will reach that you haven't seen before. He'll show you how he got there. It's up for you to get there. And that's not taking up for a saw. I'm just trying to let y'all see, how he does what he does and why he do what he do. He's a primary researcher in the field. And that's basically how all scholars.
You broke up.
The Most High chopped you off, my brother.
Hey, Asar, let me ask you this one to get back to what Mika was saying.
You know what, Thunder? Hold on one second. I don't think I want to carry on this conversation anymore.
No, I'm not. I'm changing the subject. I'm going back to what Mika said.
The reason is, hold on, Bobby, go ahead and finish it. Go ahead, finish up. You got cut off, brother. That's why you might got muted. Go ahead, finish up. Bobby. All right. By the way, Avery, you wanted to say something for the last hour. What's up? What's on your mind? You could unmute your mic.
Hey, what's going on, everybody on the panel? I hope y'all having a good afternoon. Shoot, the conversation kind of got a little long-winded, so I don't know if like anything I'm saying will be kind of relevant, but just as far as like I guess the question that you asked about like what does Black History Month mean to you? To me, I'll just say it's really just to keep it in simple terms, a lot of the time it's kind of like we've been like reactive as of late in modern times, where I feel like, back in the day, a lot of stuff was I feel like we need to be a little bit more proactive instead of reactive to situations, because a lot of stuff could have been prevented. Like I just don't feel like a lot of stuff that we come across over time. Mind you, I'm young. I'm 25. I'm probably the youngest on this panel. But like I really care about like people my age, because
you're not older than Tiffany,
I feel like
bro. You're not older than Tiffany. She's like 23.
Oh, okay,
Go ahead.
No, I feel like I was saying I was the youngest on the panel. I didn't know. It seems like everybody else was speaking on stuff way beyond me, but it's just that like with the youth, I really care a lot about like what we intake, because like we're all gonna have our point when we die inevitably. Like, so our generation is gonna be the ones running the country or in charge of giving out information. But if we got a lot of people out here with misinformation that they've been learning since high school or grade school, that's gonna like literally fuck up the rest of what's to come in the future. So like one of the hard things that I've been trying to like understand is just like, where's everyone kind of getting their sources and stuff from? And I notice a lot of people my age, they like to put like, they like to put rocks in their pockets and feel like their day's gonna be better. But it's like when I ask, is that like what you know, or is that what you believe? They state it as if they know it. And it's like, it's kind of dangerous. I don't want to like battle anybody on what you believe. You're free to believe what you want. But I don't think we need to take stuff for granted when it comes to information that's pretty like straightforward. Like I don't have to believe in Jesus Christ, but it's some kids that believe in Jesus Christ that's my age. But like if that worked for you, it worked for you. But it's like then you have those people that will say like, they're part of Yahweh, or that they they believe in stuff like reincarnation and all that stuff. A lot of the sources that I'm finding out about people my age, because I know Lionel was talking about it, was really like this source. I think his name is Drunavel Melchizedek. And a lot of people under the age of 30 that I run across to is bringing up his information. And it's enjoyable, if you don't really know anything as a kid, because everything's like animated. But I think that leaves the window open for misinformation because you'll have children that are very antisocial, and all sorts of stuff like that. They don't know what to believe, but it's easy to just watch a video, not check the information, and like some of you guys were saying on the panel, if it doesn't align with what you want to hear, you're gonna quick to call it BS. But it's crazy because it's like almost anything is believable with the youth, and I think it's very dangerous because they'll get supporting evidence from the music that they listen to, other people that are around their age. So I don't know. I think we just have to like bring information to the youth that's like not, because if it's easy for them to watch it in a cartoon, then it's like, at this point, what I don't know. I really don't know what it is. I'm more so curious, what can we do? I just really think we should be a little bit more proactive than reactive because, it's like we're just waiting for somebody to fix the issue. So I don't know that. I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say on it.
Hey,
I'm
bro,
just,
what state do you live in? What state do you live in? If you don't mind
I
telling
live
us.
in Chicago, so it's a lot of Hebrew Israelites.
Mm.
So
Mm.
let me say this. The fact that we are still under the web of religion is amazing. But what I would say to everybody is this: I would suggest everybody clean up their own act first before we do anything. Meaning that think about yourself first before anybody else, because self-preservation should always be on the top of your list. Your family, your circle around you, the people who are mean the most important to you, whether your children, your mom, your dad, those people. I would worry about them first before anybody else. And one of the reasons is because everybody has their own goals in life. And I think thinking about your goal as far as where you want to go is more important. And I think that's the route you should go first before thinking about anybody else. Because once you start building, your family start building, then you start talking about 6 degrees of separation, and you just go from there. But let's not worry about other people first. Worry about you.
Hey, Asar.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah. Go ahead, Thunder.
Oh, is it just one thing I can add on to? My apologies.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, beloved.
I didn't know if did I tell you guys the source that I've been hearing a lot of it from? I didn't know if I stated the source or not.
Oh, go ahead, brother. As long as it ain't correct one
Oh,
Luca.
okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, well, yeah, Garfield, you pretty much hit it right on the head, man. Because I like to do creative stuff, and I usually try to focus on myself first before others. But I used to notice that I was kind of in that same pocket with them as far as just not knowing what I wanted to do and what to believe and whatnot. So then it's like when I peeped the Dagger Squad and all you guys speak on topics, it kind of helped me out in just searching for answers for myself and what I can do to help not only myself but my family and maybe my friends, but you can't help everybody. So it's just trying to do what I can to, like, I guess, be an example for others. But yeah, I just really really want to stress that source though, because I fell in the loophole of that source myself until I had to go do some more research. But a lot of people love Drunavel Melchizedek, and I really don't understand why they're so obsessed with this guy. And I don't know. I don't want to throw daggers at them, but it's like I really don't like that spirit science thing because it's just mad pseudo, yo. Like the whole spirit science thing is weird with Drunavel Melchizedek, and they really got a grip on the youth with that because I don't know. It's sad because a lot of them still are in the same position they're in. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
All right, thanks. Hey, brother Asar, I just where he at? Brother Asar, you still here?
Oh, I guess I gotta unmute my mic. And I just
Yeah,
saw your gift, and I was gonna say thank you.
yeah. I just want to let you know I did it because it was confusing me yesterday. So I actually did it. I just want to say, listen, I donated because your first reason is it's Black History Month, and you are a black man, in my opinion, an African actually. Before I say black, and
Mhm.
I think you independently going to Nubia is fascinating. So-called Nubia is
Mhm.
fascinating, and you're independently doing the research. So I did donate to you whatever amount out of the kindness of my heart, and I think that if there's somebody I would donate to, it would be you. All right.
I'm very humbled and very, very appreciative, and I thank you greatly.
All right.
Yes. So based on what you were saying earlier, like to get back to what Mika was asking, um, like what you said she needs to go to a well, you would advise anybody who want to know about whatever authors or whatever scholarship to take a class. Well, those people who you took, I'm guessing you took classes, right?
Yeah, so
Right.
I'm at a. I'm not gonna say I'm at. I guess I'm at an advantage because a lot of people in our conscious community was introduced to kind of Black history through what we call the communiversity, and kind of the online platforms is an extension of that. Meaning, you may have went to a lecture in the community or saw some videotapes of some of the speakers, but alongside with that, I also went to school. So my minor was in African American studies and Africana studies. And so like I present at Africological conferences and things like that. So I'm a bit more formal in my research process. So I have a more academic slant to my research than just the average person. But
All
one
right.
of the
So
things that I always recommend, regardless, because I get this question all the time, and I used to push people back in the day. I no longer push people. I push research methods and to study the field, find a book. And I can recommend some books in particular fields so that you have a basis to evaluate the scholars, because
what
what is standard in the field, what is how they come to their conclusions in the field, and then when you go in and you're reading certain people's works, you have a framework from which to analyze their conclusions.
right. So my question is based on what Mika was asking, then the people that you learn from,
Mhm.
do those people that you learn from, do they recommend the people, the authors, I guess the great authors of the conscious community, based on the research method that you've acquired the knowledge of? Do the authors, without names, I ain't you got to drag nobody, but do the Black authors that we hold in dear in high regard, do they follow those methodologies, and are they highly esteemed amongst the teachers or amongst the people that you hang around?
Well, I can't answer that question necessarily without you giving me some names.
All right, yeah,
Pretty
Ivan
good.
Van Sertimus. I think he definitely has a couple of issues in his writings. Dr. Ben has some issues. What you call it? Definitely. The food guy. What's the food guy? Mucus is
Food.
uh
Oh,
Dr.
Dr. Sebi.
Sebi, Dr. Sebi. So let me answer it again. Do the people that you took classes from, that you learned from, do they hold those sort of authors in high regard? And do those authors, in your opinion, utilize the correct research methodologies before they release these books? I'm not even talking about Dr.
Yeah.
York and all that. Just real cats?
I would say yes. Van Sertima is respected. Remember what I said at the beginning?
Nobody perfect, right? Yeah,
no one's perfect, and then you always got to remember the date of the publications, what was available at that time,
right,
and their particular competency in the field. So, like Van Sertima both Van Sertima and Dr. Ben are more so toted for what they did beyond the scholarship. So, for example, like with Van Sertima, he created really the first journal. They look like books, but they're actually journals. Those texts that he published, and to give these scholars a voice when the politics of the day was very limiting on the nature of the scholarship that African scholars were publishing at the time. So he's just in a totally different category. As I stated before, what seemed to be solid at one point, upon further analysis and more information in the future, we may, not agree with that. That doesn't make that person necessarily a bad scholar. He's already proved himself by even getting the PhD in anthropology. He knows research methods and things. But, sometimes where we go wrong is when we start stepping outside of our field. And that's kind of what he did when it came to the whole Olmec thing. Mm. Now, Dr. Ben, he's another one that, he's really so more touted, and I keep them like in the same way, like with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali's, fighting it. I'm not saying it was average, but in totality, he's kind of an average boxer. He has his moments, and then after that, it was shaky. But yeah,
man, you messed that one up. Good God Almighty,
that, bro.
No,
he don't like sports. I see that.
Yeah, bro. He threw that one all the way in the water.
He
dunked that one. Yeah, he threw that one bad.
You talking about the greatest?
That's the greatest. At the time, listen.
Get back to the linguistics.
Right.
No. The reason why Muhammad Ali is considered the greatest, it has very little to do with his boxing, but his integrity and his life outside of the ring.
No. You are
that's linguistics. Linguistics
is average.
Listen,
he just said Olympic gold medalist was average.
Hold on. Sorry, it's time to go, bro. Time to go.
It's one thing to be able to knock people out. The thing that made Muhammad Ali was that which was beyond the ring. I'm not taking anything away from his boxing.
No, it wasn't. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
No. That's y'all.
That man was
three-time heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist, and he didn't throw body punches.
Here I say this is a pseudo conversation at this point.
Right about now. Yeah. Let's get back to
we'll see where you get it from.
I'm trying to answer this question. I'm gonna get back to the question. So when it comes to Dr. Ben, for example, like Dr. Ben didn't read Metter Netcher, and there's a lot of stuff that he got incorrect. But why he's champion is because he brought a lot of people and grounded the studies of classical African history. He brought that to the forefront and connected it to African people. He started tours in bringing people to Africa and to Kemet in large droves. Like, it's his life beyond the scholarship that makes Dr. Ben Dr. Ben. Those relationships, like when you sit down and talk with people who've been under Dr. Ben and the life lessons and stuff that they learn from him, it goes beyond what is in the text. Even though the texts are great, it brings you to some sources that you can research and the like, and so we all love him for that. And so what I'm saying is that it's a mixed bag, and we just always got to keep things in context. That so even the scholars that I who taught me, they revered them for their contributions, and you would never hear them tearing down their name. But things improve over time. But we're only at this stage because of the shoulders of the people we stand on, those pioneers. Like I tell folks all the time, Theophilo Benga and Sheikh Anta Diop were the Wright brothers of Africana scholarship, of classical African history scholarship. So they did tremendous with what they had. So imagine, like, there's no internet, there's no searches. Like when I do a lot of my vocabulary analysis, I have a whole bunch of dictionaries on PDF. I do searches. I go to databases and all of that stuff. It makes it a lot easier. Diop in 1945 had no such resources. He had to have the books in hand and to flip the pages to find these words and then go through these texts like that. He didn't have that technology. He didn't have genetics at his disposal at that time. So when I judge Sheikh Anta Diop's, early work from the 1950s, I keep it in context. And that's how we got to kind of look at this. So, he is that great giant for which a lot of us stand. But, if he wouldn't have paved the way, like I use Chiluba Bantu in a lot of my my comparisons with ancient Egyptian. My mentor is Dr. Muba Bengi Bilolo, got more degrees than a little bit, speaks 12 African languages, very adept in philosophy and in general, in ancient Egyptian philosophy in particular. And it is because of him that I use Chiluba. But there's a lot that he got wrong in some of his comparisons, primarily because of the misclassification of like 2 or 3 graphemes in the hieroglyphic script, which he thought were vowels, which were actually consonants. And so that has a major effect in the cognates that you associate. But without him opening that way, for me, I just come in and perfect. Some years later, I can't truly perfect because that's his native language. That he grew up speaking that. I got to go through dictionaries and have conversations with natives when it comes to Chiluba. But that's just the nature of scholarship, is that you have people who come and pioneer, and then after that, just like with the Wright brothers, go like 10 feet of flying, to now we sending satellites in space, based upon their scholarship. So hopefully, I put that into context and answers your question.
Can I finish my point I was making?
Go ahead.
You hear me? You hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead.
So I think I was trying to make a point of operating on the fringes. I didn't say that, but I was talking about what Asar was doing and how he had studied his way into being a primary researcher. And that's a little different than what I do. I go get the experts and I rely on the experts. And I've said this many times, so I'm going to make sure I say it while Asar is actually right here. I've been knowing Asar for about 10 years, and he's been working on the origins of the Egyptian language. And my fair critique is we as a community need to find a way for academia to actually address it. I have yet to see an honest, fair critique on the brother's work. No matter what we think or how we feel, the question is this: Where is the critique where we can see where a star made mistakes? And I'm telling you, he made mistakes in it because he just explained how his mentor made mistakes. But at least it would be a fair critique. And how do I know he's not out of his mind? He might be on the fringes of something that you never heard, but I know he's not out of his mind because, unbeknown to most of y'all listening, the Europeans, Christopher Eric, and a few other top-notch European linguistic scholars actually did a conference on it. I'm waiting for the textbook to come out. And what was the conference on? The origins of the Egyptian language. So obviously it's not a foregone conclusion, right? No matter what we may think. And obviously most people can't do what those scholars do and what Asar does, right? So sometimes Asar catches unfair critiques based off the fact that you could go to a raggedy Wikipedia article and it just trash it without no fair critique. It's not even a scholar, a linguistic scholar actually critiquing it. So for me, I'll hold my disdain or my I love that work waiting for his hat to be actually thrown in the ring for real. My next point is, how do I judge a person? I have a straight line. My line stops at the aliens. Simple as that. If you're saying you got abducted, no matter what you wrote prior to that, I understand that's the code talk. And I understand that I can't trust you because based off of scientific understanding and scientific literacy, I understand that the likelihood of an alien or reptilian coming to Earth, okay, and abducting a person, right, is a bunch of malarkey. Not saying it could never happen. I'm saying based off of probabilities, based off of understanding life in the cosmos, period, and the probability of that particular people getting abducted seems to be a white-oriented thing. So I draw the line there. I draw the line against those who promote cures, right, which are really quackery, because we have a clear understanding of, like I say it all the time, in the 1700s, what was the difference between a quack, what they considered a doctor, a shaman, a reverend, and a medicine man? What was the difference? There wasn't a difference. So now in 2021, we now have distinct understanding and categories, right, on what is straight quackery, what is misinformation. We don't have to do that work no more. So when we talk about Dr. Sebi, we already know he was operating, watch this, dishonestly. Okay, how do we know he was dishonest? Because none of the things he was talking about, except eating good, could ever stop viruses or ever cure people. We know this based off of the long history of European medicine, Egyptian medicine. We know that whatever Dr. Sebi was talking about, it was quackery. So you would draw the line there. Bobby Hemmett, he wasn't a primary researcher. He talked about the aliens. He talked about a whole lot of topics, but we understand what New Age was. What was the New Age in the 60s, in the 40s, when Madame Blavatsky went abroad? She was a Russian. She started the Theocratical Society, and she mixed everything together. Look at her seal. She used the Ankh, she used the snake, she used the cross. She mixed it all together, and this is what they're calling the New Age science, or the New Age. What's the
Russian
New Age?
Crucianism.
Correct. So when you're talking about that, okay, we already know you on that nonsense, right? That's where we draw the line in that. We don't draw the line at Dr. Ben, who clearly made mistakes, because that's part of Scott. Like, what else was he supposed to do? What else was Ivan supposed to do? There was no DNA markers, right, which don't even denote race. But the things that we're privy to right now, they didn't have that. So what was they supposed to do? They only knew what they knew. But what it wasn't crackery. Now watch this. To continue to promote the parts that Ivan Van Sertima got wrong is considered pseudoisms now, because we know what it is. To continue to promote the things that Dr. Ben got wrong, we understand that to be pseudoisms. That doesn't make Dr. Ben pseudo, because in my mind, Ivan Van Sertima had a doctorate, a PhD in anthropology, and he would know at the end of the day, based off new available material, that he was wrong. The same with Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, and all that. So for me, I draw the line when you're clearly in an environment that has already been defined and already been figured out. We don't got to, it don't take me to be a primary researcher to understand that, one, there's certain things that ancient cultures just could not do. I don't got to know everything about the culture. I just got to understand human sight. I got to understand the history of astronomy. I got to understand the history of astronomy in Africa and the history of astronomy in the world. And I can make determinations based off of that. There are limitations. Brother Assad talked about the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers flew for 10 minutes. No, I think it was 7 minutes, 12 feet high. We know they did this because they got it on camera. We know they did this because we can see the apparatus. We know they did this. Why? Because now, in the time of one of the Wright brothers, they actually dropped a bomb on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. So in that person's lifetime, we understand that flight was real and possible because the residual of that was them dropping a bomb. Americans dropped a bomb on Japan, all based off of what the Wright brothers did. So we understand that to be real. So for me, the line is drawn when you start talking about Pickle Man, or when you start talking about they could see this, they could see that. The line is clear. We don't got to do all that. So I just wanted to get my little piece on the possibilities, operating on the fringe, being adventurous. Assad, he just seeks to be great, innovative. But this is what African people do. And if we fail, we fail. But that don't make them a crack for that. I just want to put that out there.
And I want to just add on to what you're saying. Like, I have conversations with Dr. Shamarka Keita all the time. And for those who don't know who he is, he's an African-American bioanthropologist. And, you know, me and him go back and forth on the whole. I think I'm convincing him now on the invalidity of Afroasiatic. And but he was telling me, like, because, you know, me and him talk all the time, but he never really read my work. And once I sent him a sample of my work, you know, he knows now how serious I am about the topic, and he respects it now. And this is what is starting to change his mind on that subject. But what he would tell me is, like, you know, you got to keep at it because you're on the what do you say, that, like, the edge of the frontier of knowledge. And when you are there, it may take 20 to 30 something years for people to recognize and catch on. So just he keeps telling me to be consistent, you know, to always improve and just keep fighting, because it'll take a long time. And it's very important because that conference that brother Unc or brother Bobby, I'm used to Unc, so I'm just gonna say Unc. That brother Unc mentioned, there was 2 conferences. It was a conference in 2018 at the University of Texas in Austin, and then the second conference was in 2019 at Brown University, right? And actually, Shamarka Keita was at the second one at Brown University, so he knows it. So this conference, they're questioning the relationship between ancient Egyptian, or its position in ancient in Afroasiatic, and there is even a presentation that from a linguist who states that we cannot prove that there is a genetic relationship between Semitic and ancient Egyptian. This is a European scholar. And so keep this in mind. That is 2018 and 2019. The book is supposed to come out at the end of this year, or in January of next year. So either December of this year, January of next year, according to, because I reached out to the conference holders. And so, but this is significant. Why? Because the Black African scholars since the 60s and 70s, aka Sheikh Anta Diop, aka Dr. Teofilo Obenga, have been making these arguments. And what were the labels being thrown at them? That that this is fringe scholarship, that this isn't correct, and all of this other blah blah blah. But once they started applying the scientific method to this particular research question, now they're coming to the conclusion that we cannot substantiate this argument that we've been making in terms of the genetic relationship between ancient Egyptian and Semitic. And so that's about the time span. That's more than a time span. That's like, damn 40 years in terms of the time span between that was close to 50 years to be exact. But yeah, so between when these arguments were first being made by these African scholars and now Europeans, at least this small pocket, of course this isn't the vast majority of them, but now that they're even having this discussion. But guess who was not invited to the conference to make that argument? Dr. Teofilo Obenga and other scholars who have made this argument before. And so we always got to be careful about, when a whole bunch of people saying something is fringe or this is not right and exact, that you just don't immediately just come to your conclusion without first understanding the field and then being able to read for yourself their arguments and the way that they laid it out and the quality of the evidence that supported their conclusion.
Sir, let me ask you a question before you go.
All right.
If someone doing African linguistics, who do you suggest they read or to get into African linguistics? Like, for example, there's a book you mentioned in your presentation, just to show you I was watching, Hebrewisms in West Africa. You actually read a quote from that book. And because I'm looking at that book and some of the stuff that he's comparing, and I want to evaluate it. So me as a layman person don't know how to, and what I did was I read the positives. Hold on a second. I read the positive reviews because I don't know how to read the languages. Hebrew I could help myself a little bit, but with the African languages I don't have a clue, and I'm reading the reviews, positive reviews and negative reviews. But even the positive reviews of Hebrewism in West Africa had a problem with him with the Hebrew, with the African part, with the African languages. What do you suggest?
Alrighty. See, in situations like that, you really kind of have to be grounded in linguistics to be able to know what is faulty and what is not. So it's just like how when Egyptologists tell you not to use budge, right? I argue that you can use budge, but you already have to be grounded in Egyptology and know how to deal with hieroglyphs to be able to navigate and to see what is faulty in budge and what you can use from him. And it's kind of the same way with Hebrewisms in West Africa. So a second part of that is I don't know any scholar that necessarily accepts everything from every work. You have to be able to as a researcher know and to be able to say what part of an argument you agree with and what part of an argument you disagree with, and to be able to present that simultaneously in your work. But to answer your question, one book that I recommend is called African Voices, an introduction to the languages and linguistics of Africa. And I think it has a good grounding in just linguistic study in general. It's not going to be comparative linguistics, however, but comparative linguistics is a special field. So it's just like, before you can get to quantum physics and quantum mechanics, you have to be grounded in just normal Newtonian physics, right? So it's the same thing with linguistics. You just got to get grounded in linguistics, the subject matter. But what's unique about this book is that it grounds you in linguistics, but using African languages as an example. And there's very few books that actually do that. Most books on linguistics are going to be either very European language oriented, or they're just kind of all the languages in the world, just kind of giving you examples that way. So that's just a good book to ground yourself in, as far as the study of African languages. And anything beyond that is kind of really like a specialty. But if as
Hold
long
on.
as you get
Tell me
that,
the name. Tell me the name of the book
you're good.
again. Tell me the name of the
It's
book.
Name of the book
African.
again,
I'm
please.
sorry, African Voices.
African
An
Voices.
introduction to languages and linguistics of Africa. It's going to be edited by Vic Webb and Kimbo Sure. So
Oh, this was when you was teaching your course. I remember I was
yeah,
supposed to get this book. Why didn't I get it?
yeah.
I don't know why I didn't get this book. Hold on a second. Let me figure this out. Okay. All right. So you know what? Let me order it from now. Let me get it right now. African Voices. Okay. Pretty expensive book. Wow, $81. This is killing my pockets here, bro. Vic Webb and
No,
Kimbo Sure.
that's somebody hiking up the price. See if you can find it somewhere, because on average it's like $30, $35.
So Asar, are you saying the argument is that Proto-Sinaitic didn't come from the hieroglyphs?
No. That is the argument, that the Proto-Sinaitic script comes out of the hieroglyphs. It's just that it wasn't the scholars who I've read that deal with this subject. They don't believe that it was like Egyptian scribes that created it. However, it was like some illiterate Semitic speakers that
Oh, okay, I got you.
that
Now
just
I
saw the
understand.
script
Yeah.
and was copying it and made it for their own language, but it wasn't based off of like them being actual scribes, like Semitic
Right.
scribes, Semitic ethnic groups, or language speakers, who was proficient in ancient Egyptian. That's some minors. Now there's this one text, I have to read it, that is arguing that that the script was actually developed by Hebrew speakers.
Got you.
And so, but most
That makes
people
sense now.
kind of argue that it's Canaanite, and it really, as far as Canaanite and Hebrew, I mean they're different, but Hebrew comes out of Canaanite, so it wouldn't be that much of a difference regardless. But so that has significance for the story of Yahweh coming out of the mountains of Mount Sinai. Remember that he was on Mount Sinai when he got he had Moses, that is, had the conversation with Yahweh. And so this is where these Kenite nomads were roaming, and also were part of the miners that helped to develop the actual script itself. And so these are all kind of in isolation, looks like circumstantial evidence, but in conjunction helps to paint a greater picture of the formation, the introduction of Yahweh, and it, as well as the writing script in this particular area. But it all comes down, these are all Egyptian mines in the Sinai. And this is important because as I stated, Set, the god Set, which one of his epithets is Yahi or Yahu, is the deity of miners and metallurgists and nomadic pastoralists, because that was all a guild. There used to be nomadic pastoralists who would go to caves and things and mine ores and make metal instruments, and then go and roam to different places and sell them. And
you brought up Dr. James Barr book. Do you know where we can access some of his lectures? And is it that the people of the time didn't know what the term Yahweh meant also? Or are you just talking about us in our day?
Well, kind of both, and that's one of the the reason why I cited Barr is because he brought out information on because there's many sources that I could have cited, but I wanted to quote individuals who actually deal with the language, who deal with the linguistics of the language. And and so one of the things that he was talking about is how the Bible is just full of folk or popular etymology. And one of the clues in which you can tell that this is some folk etymology is that they start trying to explain the name. and because if it's a common everyday name for which people understand, remember they're only writing for their audience, for a Hebrew audience, right? So but they understand that these other names and things aren't in their language. So they try to make it make sense in their language. Just in the same way that, when we say history in English, a lot of us try to break it down and make it his story as two words. We analyze it as two words, but that's popular etymology. That's not the evolution of how we pronounce it in modern as history. So with that being the case, this is one of the reasons why you have all of these different suggestions in terms of what the name Yahweh means, because it is not a Hebrew name. It is not even a Semitic word itself. Wow. And so this is a clue. When I see stuff like that, my first thing is to look at the languages that are not immediately relatable to the languages in the area, and look there, because if they've had interactions with the surrounding folks, either Indo-Europeans or some Asian languages, or of course in the ancient Egyptian. And so when I start looking in the ancient Egyptian and looking at all this, the context for their interactions, then this is what allowed me, and I looked into the words and things and associations with the God, the deity Set, and his introduction, into the pantheon of the Hebrews. And this is what led me, to go along this path to make this hypothesis, public. So, but there's also, you also have to consider as well that there could have been, for example, another Semitic language that was existing at the time, but however no longer exist. So like when we talk about, for example, the Meroitic language, if we didn't have the Meroitic script, we wouldn't know the Meroitic language even existed, because there's no modern speakers. Even with the ancient Egyptian, there's no modern speakers.
Right.
So if it wasn't for the writing, but not all languages have writing. So there could have been another Semitic language for which, that in their language, this makes sense, the word Yahweh. And then it's really based on some other kind of roots that's probably shared amongst the other Semitic languages. But because it died off, we don't have that evidence to make that suggestion. So that's always a possibility. So, I consider all of these
what would be the word in its original form? Because we know Yahweh is a transliteration, right? So correct. What would be
I think that's what he's trying to figure out. I think that's what he's trying to figure out.
Yeah, because the word itself, the word that I'm talking about, ultimately has to deal with kind of like a savagery, aggression, uproariness, kind of loudness. It's like that's essentially the word. So how it is used in the ancient Egyptian is it also doubles, it is because the root, the nominal word is kind of like a word for alligator, right?
Let me ask you this real quickly, not to
Wow.
cut you off.
Right.
When you say Egyptian's origin, you don't necessarily mean that it started from or comes from the Medjugorje per se, but it's actually the Seth group may have that root, meaning that it had a Yahweh sound or Yahweh pronunciation, may have a root to it, but those people might not necessarily be Egyptians. Is that what you mean?
No, in this instance, I'm saying specifically Egyptian because of the
Okay.
proximity and the relationship between the Semitic speakers, the Canaanites, and possibly Hebrews and the Arabs and things at that point. They're moving in out of Egypt, and they're becoming part of the guilds of Egypt in terms of the miners, the seasonal miners that come in and extract the ores. And we got to understand just kind of ancient tradition, especially every guild has a patron spirit that represents it. You know, so like if you was an architect in ancient Egypt, your patron spirit was Ptah. You know, if you were a farmer, it was Osiris. You know, if in among the Dogon, they have their own they have their own spirit for weaving. You know, same thing in amongst the Yoruba. You know, if you're in a technology metal worker, your saint, your patron saint is Ogun. Like every guild has a anthropomorphized representation of the spirit of that particular occupation. And so for the miners, that spirit was set. It also was because they employed foreigners to do work in the minings, and because Set was also associated with the metallurgical guild as well as the traveling nomads, that became the association for foreign people in general, and guarding of the borderways. So everyone who's coming in as a foreigner and is intimate with ancient Egypt is introduced to Set, and that becomes
doesn't he represent war?
Yes, he represents war, but he represents all kind of war, conflict, and so it's that underlying spirit that is applied to various different things in even in nature. So when you're talking about a storm is violent, a storm is aggressive, and that's what the essence of the word, the epithet that was given to both Set and Apophis or Apep. They're the spirit of chaos and you know, anger and all that. So when you see a volcano,
sorry, can I ask you a real quick question? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is very important because I've said this a lot, and I want to have your opinion on it. Can't we say that about just about all the deities in Africa?
As far as what
they are aggressive, that they represent some type of aspect of nature or of consciousness.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the conversation. See the disconnect.
I have so many people telling me differently. That's why I had to. I wanted you to say it because maybe they'll listen to you. Go ahead.
The disconnect comes in for people of the Bibles because they don't believe that the Bible is full of myths, and they think that their God is real and different than what everybody else in the world been doing over the years. They really think that they're doing something unique and different. And that's just not the case. So you have to battle. That's part of the battle and the aggression coming out of the Hebrews, because you know they have in their mind that paganism is something that is everybody else, that's not us, when in fact this is the case. So when you know they fight hard against Yahweh being a storm god and a volcano god. And it's like, no, those are aspects and representations and symbols of Yahweh. Just like these other concrete referents, if we, talking in the language of semiotics, that you find amongst other groups. And it's the same thing. So like even like a Ganju in among the Yoruba, which is a kind of a word dealing with the wilderness, but is also associated with kingship, with storms and all that. But when it was brought to the New World in places like Cuba and things in the Leukemia tradition, he's also associated now with volcanoes. And so it's the underlying spirit that can be applied to anything that appears to have the characteristics for which the word itself represents, which the word itself is defined by. And so that's what you see going on in the biblical tradition. That's what you see going on in ancient Egypt. And so that's why, people running around here thinking that the deities are actually like walking, talking things, really don't understand what is going on. These are pedagogical tools to keep certain ideas and values in the minds of the people, and that they have a cultural reference, so that there is a meaningful discourse in the community, and to which they can pass on these values, because it's all mathematics. And when I tell people about mathematics, is that mathematics is essentially the study of the relationship between symbols and their ability to reason about reality. And so if you understand the deities as symbols that represent ideas and concepts, and when you're seeing these deities interacting in these narratives, it's mathematics. It's just the relationship between the symbols that's trying to articulate and reason about reality as understood by the culture and the people of the time.
Fantastic. Excellent example. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. But anyway,
Go ahead,
I do
Thunder.
have to
I
go.
see you biting at the.
Hold on, is Sister Mika still on? Did you have any more questions before I go?
Mika's mad at me. She said I'm cutting you off.
All righty. Well, I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you again, Brother Garfield.
No problem.
I got to get ready.
Thank you.
To work in the evening. So y'all be blessed. All right, y'all.
Appreciate you, bro.
Right,
Thanks a
No
lot.
doubt.
Peace, man.
All right. What is Chef Rin? What's up? What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Nothing. What's going on, y'all? I was just listening in. American Dream said, "Let him in." Garfield.
Oh shit.
Oh, hell
Here
no.
we go.
Hell no. Hell no. Don't bring that nigga on.
You don't like American Dream?
I love American Dream. American Dream, my guy, but I don't want to see them argue.
We ain't gonna argue with American Dream, man. We good.
American Dream is a lost cause.
Chef Rin, why do you start so much shit on your show, bro? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know, man. That's my question.
Y'all think I be starting it?
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do.
Yo, you hating on the Egyptomaniacs, yo. Why are you doing that? They love their Egypt, yo.
I'm really having a problem with that, though. I ain't gonna lie. Because we go at the Abos, right, for being culture vultures. We go after Hebrew Israelites for being culture vultures. So I'm really having a hard time when I see people. I seen people going at the Moors. I mean, the same people make the same arguments against other people. They fight for Egypt. It's nutty as hell. I seen them wreck the Moors and you know, tell them people y'all ain't got nothing to do with them North Africans, and you know what I mean? Just destroy them. But then they lose all credibility because they fight for Egypt. Like, don't go against.
What's wrong with
Hey,
Egypt?
hold up,
I don't understand.
hold up. Thunder, did you hear me the other day and Brother Bereen when I said if Egypt was in Western Central Africa, nobody would care anywhere else.
With all the pyramids and all the artifacts of you out of your mind. You are out of your mind.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying if Egypt was in Western Central Africa, ain't nobody would claim nowhere else. They would
with
claim
a Sphinx and all that up there. You think people wouldn't be claiming Egypt?
No, he said they would.
The opposite.
He said they would. He said they would claim it.
Everybody believe it. Oh, okay, my bad.
Everybody would claim.
So you're right.
If it was Western Central Africa, everybody and their mama, I would have dig up my mom's grave and say, "Yo, you ain't nobody."
Yo, everybody would. It would be way worse than what Sheffrin is talking about now.
The way how them elders talked about Egypt, bro. Y'all need to subscribe to Transatlantic Videos. That's who used to film at the slave theater. They have all the exclusive videos that I grew up on. Because I used to go there every Wednesday, family. And trust me,
I got so many of them.
I would hear Dr. Ben, I would hear Dr. Clark, I would hear Khalid, I would hear all the greats, but I'd also hear all the pseudo greats too.
I mean, Egypt is a part of Africa. What's wrong with?
There you go. That's not the point. You see, that's the cop out. Don't let me unmute Sheffrin, man. Sheffrin gonna get you, bro.
It's a part of Africa, man. What the problem is? I don't understand.
All right, let me ask you a question. Show me an Egyptian king that said, "Hey, I'm a part of the rest of Africa." Show me that. Show me that king right now.
Part of the
conversation.
You know I can't do that. You know I can't do that.
That's how I killed that dude on Dr. Mayat the other day, talking about Africa Israel is a part of Africa. Don't try to pull that on me.
But that's why the colonizer was able to come into Africa and enslave our ancestors, because we was bickering with each other, hating on each other, not communicating with each other, and the Europeans snuck on in and took our people. Nope. Ain't no European snuck in. Stop. Nope. I know you ain't saying that, Black man. Stop that shit. You know them people in Wida. You know them bastards in Wida was slave raiding Grand Popo and Alana. Man, you talking about 42 tribes out of thousands of tribes, man. Bro. Stop the madness. You know you can't pull that with me.
Hold on.
Stop.
So you're saying the Europeans taught them how to do slave raiding and
I'm not saying that. I'm saying they took advantage of the situation. But you're talking about 42. You're talking about 42 tribes at the most.
Well,
out of thousands,
out of 500, it don't matter, bro. I'm saying
it does matter.
No. The 42 tribes you're talking about is what the North America is based
if
off.
If four Dagger Squad members did something,
no, you're wrong. Though. It's not based off.
But still, if 4 Dagger Squad members did something that was wrong, but the rest of us didn't support that, you can't put what they did on the whole Dagger Squad.
Tell me an African tribe that wasn't doing slave raiding before the slave trade. Tell me one. Tell me one African tribe that said, "I'm not going to fight another African tribe." That tribe would have been ate alive in Africa.
No, that was the problem. That's what I said. I said we was fighting against each other, and this is why we ended up getting enslaved. I said that.
But that's before, though.
Now, name an African tribe that wasn't taking part of the slave trade. The Zulu.
No. That wasn't ever fighting another African tribe.
Well, I can't name that. That's my point. So that's what I said.
Point. So we arguing over.
Yeah, I'm saying.
It's stupid.
If we was fighting against each other, if we had been communicating with each other instead of fighting each other, then the Atlantic slave trade would have never happened.
If Thunder wasn't a Santi and I'm Fanti, I swear to you, I'm fighting every day of the week against this Negro. I'm telling you that right now. We warring every day. If I found a tribe where Thunder was a part of, I'm fighting him. I hate the Thunder tribe. I'm fighting them every damn day. I don't care if there's slave trade going on or anything. We beefing. Period.
That's the problem.
Sheffrin tribe. Oh my! I'm killing all them niggas. I'm serious. All of them gotta go. I'm sorry,
that's the
family.
problem.
All of them gotta
That's
go. They gotta go. They
we
gotta
gotta
go,
learn
man.
different. We gotta learn better. That's the power and the greatness of our history that we can
Yeah,
learn from the mistakes.
the fact of the matter is, there's always going to be tribes. I think one of the things Gaddafi did, Gaddafi said, we should all unite, and Gaddafi had the money to free up Africa. But what happened is he wasn't a dark-skinned black man. He was a light-skinned, fair-skinned African man who from Morocco. Y'all know Morocco wasn't playing nice to a lot of places, especially the black people. The what you call them? The
Libya. He was from Libya.
Not what they call the black people, the people that was from sub-Saharan strand in Morocco. Sheffrin, come on, you're supposed to know this history, man.
What, the Haratins?
The Haratins, right? Y'all know they wasn't playing with the Haratins correctly. They wasn't treating them nice, and there was a dark-skinned sub-Saharan looking people in Morocco.
That's
we
the
know
story.
Morocco has a bad history with dark-skinned sub-Saharan looking Africans.
Yeah, that's true.
So when Gaddafi now comes out and be like, yo, I'm African, man. Come on, let's get this done. A lot of people didn't take him serious, but he was willing to form a united Africa, which was pretty good.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need. The Europeans do it. They don't get along. The Germans can't stand the Russians. The English can't stand the French. But when it comes down to it, they all get together.
Hey, Sheffrin, when I showed you that girl from Egypt who I met in the UK who bought my book, you talking about she ain't no real Egyptian, but you argue with African Americans say they're not Egyptian when a real Egyptian is saying that she from Egypt. Well, I don't understand that.
No, I just came on your. I know you was picking fun with people. You know what I mean? So I picked fun back, but I totally, you know what I mean, agreed with your stance. But see, that's the biggest problem, right? And I feel like people are holding on to what those old school teachers put forth. And if you taught something for 20 years, it's hard to walk back out of that. Right? So I feel like you got whole research groups named from Egyptian names. The Amun-Ra squad. You can't back down off of that shit now. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, I'm not a part of that. So I understand, like, if you tell a Hebrew Israelite that they are not Hebrew Israelites, or they don't have no connection to the ancient land of Israel or none of that in the Levant.
Mm-hmm.
These people gonna feel some type of way about that. Right?
Yo, they want to be chosen. They want to be chosen, my
exactly.
brother.
And these niggas want to be Egyptian, or they want the Egyptian to be connected to them. Like, that's what we was fed. Like, the black man of the Nile and his family.
But who's calling himself an Egyptian?
It doesn't matter.
Yo, Black Lion, let me tell you something, bro. I'm telling you, out of the 1% of black people who claim to be black Hebrew Israelite, Moors, or Nation of Islam, 1% of the black population, let me tell you something. They are fighting for that 1%, because that's all they are. People think talk about, there's this awakening with the Hebrews. Ain't no damn awakening. People are Christians.
That's the Jews period, but go ahead. That's the Jews period.
I'm talking about the black Hebrew Israelites, the Moors, but the Egyptomaniacs, bro, I'm telling you, some of them, they don't like Garfield at all, because I point out that you're trying to be Egyptian. They are saying that they're Egyptian because of Ramesses III DNA. They're using that to say that they're Egyptian, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
Okay. I just never ran across any of them. But go ahead. I just don't know nothing about it. Go ahead.
So you telling me you ain't seen Jabari and none of them?
Oh, I seen Jabari, yeah, but I mean on a large scale basis.
Hold up. Jabari made a speech saying that he's gonna bring the Egyptian religion back to the Ghana people and give it to them because they are lost it or whatever. I'm paraphrasing.
You're right. But even Jabari don't say he comes directly from Egypt.
So why do he call make that claim? Why do he call them the
because it's an African culture. Go ahead.
If I call something the ancestors, right? Then I'm saying that I'm connected to him. This guy went on Sinetta and said that the ancient Egyptian mummy was talking to him from the goddamn sarcophagus.
Y'all lying.
What the hell?
Y'all lying on Jabari. Y'all
What?
lying on Jabari.
I
Y'all
won't
lying
lie on
on
the
Jabari,
brother
bro. You
because
lying.
I like Jabari.
He ain't saying
My
that.
last night.
I feel like
He
I
ain't
feel
say
like
that, bro.
Jabari accounts
I quit.
himself well.
I
I like
quit.
the character that he presents when he come on, you know what I mean, the platforms, you know what I
No
mean?
doubt.
All
No
of that.
doubt.
So he gives a positive image.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yo, he ain't say that, bro.
yo, he said it, yo.
Hey,
like,
Chef, let me ask you this.
He ain't say it.
What?
Chef, let me ask you this right here, man. So with him, are you offended at the conflation, I would say, or the conjunction he's trying to make between Ghana and Egypt? Like what? How is
it's
I don't know
disgusting.
what
It's
the hell
disgusting.
does being a Kemetic priest got to do with Ghana? I don't get it.
It's disgusting. Like, but all of the connections they try to make, I feel like it's culture vultures, right? I feel disgusted every time I see an Abo trying to take Native American culture from them. Them people went through enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't believe KJ. I don't believe Sheffrin. I don't believe Jabari said that. I don't believe.
You don't believe he said
I,
what?
I have to hear that myself.
No,
Yo,
I've never heard of this.
There's no way. And by the way,
what do you say,
Dr.
Chef?
Richard Carrier, I had to bring him back for Black History Month.
Good.
And he will be talking about your favorite guy. And I'm gonna invite your favorite guy. As a matter of fact, let me send him an email right now.
Good. That's good.
And I want him to refuse in the email that he's not coming. That's what I want him to do.
And put it up. Hey, Chef, what'd he say?
Yo, that's crazy.
An Egyptian mummy. He was
I was talking to him in the sarcophagus. Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, he said
You heard it, Sheffer?
I heard him.
Nah.
What you mean talking
y'all
to him?
crazy.
What you mean?
Y'all tripping right now, yo.
I'm gonna find it.
Y'all might
You
not
mean
like
literally
Jabari,
talking to him? What are y'all saying?
He's saying literal.
Hold on. Everybody hold up.
What the hell?
Everybody hold up.
And he wasn't having a dream.
Yo, KJ said it was in the corner or something.
Hold on.
Wow.
Hold on. Shepard is correct. He did say that he was at a funeral or something. I don't know where he was at.
No, he was at the museum.
At the museum.
Yeah,
He said he was
exactly.
at the museum, and he said that the body that was in that sarcophagus was talking to him in the museum. That's a fact.
Yep.
Wow.
And he said, "Listen,
I don't believe it.
That type of stuff right there is what I don't like. Now I'm with Sheffrin when it comes
I'm
to
with
that type of
Sheffrin on
stuff.
that type shit. I'm with you
That
on that. I
spooky
totally
stuff,
agree.
that spooky supernatural religion trying to make him into
Yo,
some
there's
type of
another
religion.
person who said
That's what I
he
can't
said
stand.
it. No More Sleepwalking said he said it too.
That's
Come
the kind
on,
of stuff
man.
I
Y'all
can't
can't.
stand.
Y'all can't.
Sabio. Let me ask you a question.
Yo,
Do you hear the confidence in my voice, my brother?
yes, I do.
Do you believe I'm lying to you?
No, that's why I'm over here like this some
I'm
bullshit.
not lying to you, man. Y'all ain't never known me to lie on nothing.
I don't think it's no lie. I don't think it's a lie because when you calling yourself a priest,
You gonna hear
Kemetic
shit.
priest, then
You
anything
gonna make
can happen.
yourself
You
hear
can say
anything.
anything.
You can say
It's like a
anything.
pastor from a church.
Bang.
What's the difference?
And that's the
The Holy Ghost. If the Holy Ghost could speak to the pastors, I guess
Then-
the sarcophagus,
yeah, then a mummy can
a
talk
mummy
to
in
a
the
Kemetic
sarcophagus
priest.
can
Yeah.
hear it too.
Exactly. It's no
Shit.
different. And that's the kind of stuff I don't like.
But listen,
That's what I call Egyptomaniac.
Yeah, but
that
so
type of stuff.
check the move. He was saying it was a literal experience, and while we know it wasn't a dream, because he said he asked his wife and the crowd of people that was with him, "Did y'all just hear that?" So he was awoke. He said then it called out to him again. And he asked his wife, "Did you hear that?" And he said the lady in the sarcophagus, whatever mummy it was, said, "Here I am, brother," and all this, and it went into this long. It was crazy.
Yo,
he never said that y'all are taking it out of context.
He might say that now.
You already know.
Described a literal experience.
Wow.
It wasn't a metaphor.
Wow.
You know, he said he heard a voice.
Wow.
So he had his
Chef
so he
Brown,
had a Paul
hold on,
experience.
hold on,
Hold
hold
on.
So
on.
he had his
For the
Pauline
record,
experience.
for the
To
record,
confirm that it was a voice, he asked other people that was near him, "Did y'all hear that?"
Like Paul asked the crowd around him, did they hear Jesus like that?
No, I'm done. He had a Paul experience, yo.
I don't believe it.
He had his Damascus Road experience in the museum, Sheffrey.
I don't believe that. Yo.
You see, I come from a religious family, so that's not even bad for me. The garment
bad for
shit
me,
and
bro.
connecting and being a culture vulture is more of an issue for me.
But you said culture vulture. And Gozi said that they are distant cousins. That's family, bro.
All human beings are.
Hold on a second. What's dangerous right now is that the people who follow him is saying it's real and true, and they also get that experience.
Yeah, that's why I told you from the jump I can't stand
That's the
that
danger
type
in
of
it.
stuff.
Following the pathway of Brother Jabari. I don't believe he said that until somebody showed me the video.
If you having church in your house, you
got it.
I got you, Garfield.
You got me.
Oh
All right.
shit!
No, I mean I ain't got you.
All right.
I'm looking right now. I got you.
All right.
If you having church in your house, you starting a cult.
I agree.
Ain't nobody.
I agree.
You built a church in your living room. That's
Wow.
piece of shit. Like
I agree.
Like it's crazy. Like
I would never argue against what you're saying when it comes to that kind of stuff. Now, are they our people? That's a different conversation.
You see,
that's why I refer to them as our ancestors. I don't care if you in Ghana. I don't care if you in Egypt. I don't care if you in the Congo. That's to me. Those are our ancestors.
Western and Central Africans share a lot of the people move around. So I have no problem with saying that those people from those regions are your ancestors.
Right.
But Egypt is in a whole nother region.
But Chef, you don't think no one from West Africa ever migrated to Egypt and vice versa?
I don't know.
You really believe that never happened?
Show me that.
But I'm just asking you, do you really believe that not one single person from West Africa?
No, I would never speak in an absolute.
Okay, that's what I'm asking you. Okay, that's what I'm asking you.
But it doesn't make. Go ahead.
Shell, let me ask you. Now, we had this talk at least about 6 months ago, and I see you kind of you flailing, brothers. I don't know what's happening. Maybe I'm hoping I'm misinterpreting. Are the people in Egypt?
Hoping them getting to me, Thunder.
Are the people in Egypt the same people that's been there, or not? Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay,
the studies say it's the same people. Yeah.
Hold on, Jabari responded. He said, "You're sending messages to Egyptomaniacs."
But hey, for real, I'm looking for it now.
No, I'm telling you what Jabari just responded and said.
What
he
said?
I'm sending messages to Egyptomaniacs.
Hell nah.
Watch.
He said he'll be on a plane going to Kemet that day, so he's unable to make it. But I'm sending messages to Egyptomaniacs. Hey. It is what it is. If you don't want to come on, that's it. We don't beat him up anyway. But anyway, what do you call it? What do you call it? Oh yeah, you find the video, right? Find that video. Let's have some fun before we get off the air. But today has been a very interesting show. Thank you, brother Asari Motep, for coming on. Thank you, Mika. Everybody said that you're not a what was I gonna say?
Say the right thing. I'm not keep thinking.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. Sometimes things are better not said.
Oh, you smart.
I appreciate. Hey, I don't want you to beat me up, man, because you know where I live at. So I don't want you to beat me up. All right. But anyway, I want to say, Mika, thank you for coming on. Sister Tiffany, thank you for coming on. Share the show, like the show, and I want to say I appreciate everybody for supporting the show, and keep doing what you're doing. But anyway, before we go, Thunder is trying to find that video. Go ahead, Thunder.
It was a while ago. I don't think he's gonna be able to find it in time.
I
Because
think
he
I'm
y'all
not gonna be able
been
to find it. I'm looking,
and
but it's
Sinetta
not
got
gonna
like
connect.
3 different channels.
Right.
So
I think
he don't
I
even know
think
where to
y'all
look
lying.
at.
Well, for the record, I think y'all lying on
No problem.
Jabari.
How much money you
I
want to put
can
on this?
accept that. I can
Put
accept
some money, man.
How much money? I got 500 right now.
You got 500. Damn, that's how you sound
I'm
confident.
rolling
Black
with
man.
I'm rolling with
Oh,
I'm rolling with
Thunder?
Thunder and Sheffrin on this
I
one.
got 500.
Oh man, you ain't even hear it, but you rolling with them. You see, that's
Yeah, I
faith.
gotta roll with them on this
That's that
because
faith.
I'm a
That's
producer.
that faith in Jesus right there.
hey,
That's that faith.
when you put that spooky stuff in the Kemetic literature, when you in your interpretations of Kemetic science, when you make it spooky, you can say anything. So I believe it.
And it's crazy because when he said it, goddamn Sinetta dropped the bomb for him. So I'm like, what the hell going on? Like, it just showed, but Garfield say how religious our community still is.
Yes.
It
That's
just,
facts.
you know what I mean?
That's facts, and it's
We
because of
love
stuff
that
like
type
that.
of talk, right? You know what I mean? We grew up on that type of talk.
I say it all the time. We might as well have stayed in the church when we start going down that path.
Yeah, but I appreciate y'all having us on. I'm gonna go live later. I'm gonna do a Black History show. Hopefully it don't get dragged into the Egypt talk. I'm sick of Unc and them.
I'm tired of that shit too.
Y'all
Chef.
won. Y'all can have Egypt. Y'all can go steal them North Africans' culture. All y'all want. I'm not fighting y'all.
I'm West African.
Y'all
I'm
have
gonna stay where I'm at.
I'm African. I represent the whole continent. Damn it.
That's pseudo. But go.
One mind, one voice, one fist.
Yeah, they can happen. I'm gonna do a Black History show later, so hopefully everybody tap in since it's the first day of Black History Month. Hopefully it can stay on track. Thunder, Garfield. I know Mika gonna be over there. Mika crazy.
Yo, Corey's a trip, yo. Corey said y'all misinterpreted his experience.
I knew it. I knew somebody was gonna say that.
Yo, Corey. Jabari must have texted him. Jabari must have texted him, man. Jabari texted him.
I knew it. I knew that was gonna be
They
said.
got it wrong.
And maybe they
They got
did.
it wrong.
How can we get it wrong? The man said the mummy talked to him in the museum in a sarcophagus.
He's gonna say,
and no one else heard it.
He said
Yo,
he's
one
gonna
thing-
say he didn't mean
one thing-
literally.
One thing y'all gonna know about Garfield, man. Garfield not big no friend in this community.
Call
These people in this-
Sonetta. Sonetta tell you.
These people in this community, they like you today, they hate you tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And make sure for this year, y'all stand on what y'all stand on, man. Don't let nobody
Facts.
influence y'all.
Facts.
And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Not because
No
of this,
doubt.
not because of that. Y'all try, just do what you're gonna do and stand on it, bro. Because
We
at the
don't
end of the
beg
day,
no friend.
none of these people pay your rent. They don't pay your bills. They don't help you with your children.
That's
they
right.
don't do nothing for you. These are just YouTube relationships that mean nothing.
Mm.
Most, I could name 10
Well,
people that I associate with outside of YouTube, and that's it.
The truth is gonna win no matter what. No matter what nobody say, the truth is gonna always stand out. So
Kofi Hill
people
said,
can say what they
Garfield
want.
Jabari did say that, yo. Nah, he ain't say that. Until I hear it myself, nah, I don't believe it.
Telling you, I believe it.
Listen, I don't believe in no spook god, man. So I can't believe, and I ain't see it. If I don't see it, I don't believe it. I don't believe y'all. Y'all think y'all
But when you calling yourself a priest, you do believe in some type of spook god. That's what priests deal
You
with.
see, look at Mantaya X. Thank you. Jabari meant it as a metaphor. I don't see how.
See?
It
I
couldn't be a
told you.
metaphor. It had to be like an
It
allegorical.
was a spiritual experience. How was that a metaphor?
It can't be a metaphor. There's no way it could be a metaphor.
It was a spiritual experience.
By the way, guys, if you get the chance to get this book, The Jews and the Expansion of Europe to the West, this book was introduced to me by Rob On. Let me tell you something. If you hold to the Hebrew Israelite tradition, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what the Jews were doing in West and Central Africa, this is one of the best documentations I've ever seen.
They were in there for trade and slaves
What
and
else could it
gold.
possibly have that we haven't already went through, Garfield?
Trust me, this has more stuff than you.
Than what we went through? Okay.
We went through. It
All
gives
right.
it more. You get a more
It
refined.
okay, it adds on to it.
All right.
Cool.
Well, give it. You know how you do. Hook us up with the book.
Well, actually, I don't have it on PDF. I physically have the book. It's a physical book. It's not online. No PDF available.
What's the name again?
The Jews and the Expansion of Europe to the West, 1450 to 1800.
Damn. You 1450 to 1800?
Yep. So it gives exactly.
Damn.
I'm gonna tell you what's the most important part that y'all gonna like. I'm gonna tell y'all right now.
I gotta get that now.
New Christian / New Whites. This part is New Christian, New Whites, Sephardic Jews, free people of color, and citizenship in French Saint Dominique, 1760 to 1789. But chapter 22, let me go to it real quickly. I paid for, I think it's 421. Let me tell y'all something, family. This here, Rawborn never gave me a better book in his life, boy. I tell you, never. That boy came through with this book.
Oh shit! I see it right here.
It's part 6. The brokers of the world: American Jews, New Christians, and international trade. Chapter 21. There on it's all daggers, right through maps, figures, everything. If you are a Hebrew Israelite, New Christians and Jews in the sugar trade, 2 centuries of development of the Atlantic economy, 1550 to 1750.
So let me ask you this question, because this is interesting. You just brought a whole nother frame to thought.
Look at this right here. Look at this right here.
Here come the Ottoman Empire.
You damn right.
Hold on. New Christians, look at this. New Christians as sugar cultivators and traders in the Portuguese Atlantic, 1450 to 1800.
So are you telling me that these Jews was bringing slaves into the Ottoman Empire?
No, this is not about the Ottoman Empire. It's about the Atlantic world.
I know, but this is all covering that air. This is all covering that era.
No, because technically speaking, wherever there's trade, you're always going to find Jewish involvement.
Bang.
Well, the Ottomans is in that book, I guarantee you.
Because this is the date.
Just from the dates.
Actually, no. The Jewish moment and the two expansion systems in the Atlantic. And let me give you all another storyline. The Jews in colonial British America. Oh man, this book here has got daggers for days, family. Daggers for days.
This is all during their expansion and the Ottoman Empire reign. 1453, they fall. Constantinople fall. Then here comes them getting kicked out and all that other shit.
All the African tribes, please, Garfield. Which African tribes you referring to, beloved? I still don't believe Jabari said that. I don't believe it.
Gotta get this.
Hey, you know, Sonetta took down a video when he did say that the Egyptians were having sex with the goats. He said it. Remember, he admitted it. Yeah, I told Sonetta to take it down. Because that would have given the Hebrews. That would have given the Hebrews ammunition. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying take that down, bro.
He said all kind of crazy stuff.
Take that down.
Man, did you call Sonetta to ask him, man? Sonetta will tell you right now.
Maybe if me and him was debating, I'd be like, keep it up so I could bring it out. But nah, I ain't give them Hebrews no ammunition, man. Whether me and Jabari cool or not. Oh, you spoke
Brothers and sisters, this is
all the tribes.
I am standing in front of the masjid for the largest Islamic center in New York City.
Hold on 1 second, family. Let me give this gentleman, this book right here real quick. The Encyclopedia of African Religion. That's what it's called, brother. The Encyclopedia of African Religion. Every black person should get this book. Every black person should get this book. This book has every tribe you could think of. Over 900 pages. Our brother Asar Imhotep is actually in this book. Actually partaked in the formation of this book. Encyclopedia of African Religion. Malefia Sante. You got to get that book, family.
I'll be that.
Indigenous black man. He said Jewish gold traders gave maps to the colonizers. I don't know if they would have had maps if they weren't led in by regular people.
Right.
Remember, if the Africans didn't tell them, because they didn't know where the gold was. They never knew where the gold was. That's one thing I got to respect the Africans for. They never told them where the connect is. What's the connect? We ain't telling y'all. That's our joint. We gonna make money off of this. Y'all ain't making no money off of this unless we allow you to make money off of it. So they didn't know. They didn't know where the goal was.
But the Ashkenazi and the Sephardic Jews have been practicing Judaism for about 1,000 years, right?
The
So
Ashkenazi
show
and the
us
what?
and the Sephardic Jews for about 1,000 years they've been practicing Judaism.
Who said that?
That's what through my research, I think that's the number.
Nah, that's
If you have
not
another
correct.
number, then
That's not correct because remember, remember the Khazar theory has been refuted. You know that, right? That's been debunked.
yeah, facts,
So
no doubt.
the people who are Ashkenazi, like a Jonathan Shorsh, he comes from the tradition, like from the priesthood, from like even the Maccabee period. They could trace their roots back that far. Because remember,
So-
Judaism never existed until the Hellenistic period. And that's why a lot of people forget.
When's
That's
the
when it
first time
started.
we hear the name Sephardic or Ashkenazi?
I mean,
Yo,
Sephardic,
y'all can get this on
remember this,
PDF.
remember this though. It's just a name because remember all these
I
guys
understand,
all these
but
Jews.
when
Hold on,
is the time that we hear those terms? How
Ask
far
yourself
back
this.
does it go?
No. Ask yourself this: are Sephardics and Ashkenazi rooted in the ancient Israelite culture?
No.
Yes, they are. You see, that's the problem. You sound like a Hebrew Israelite now.
How are
Because-
they? They're
watch
not.
this, watch
They're
this, watch
not
this, watch this,
temple
watch this.
Jews,
Watch this,
Garfield.
watch
They're
this,
not.
watch this,
They're
watch
not
this.
Jews from the
Watch this,
homeland. They're from
watch this,
Germany. They're from
All right,
Spain.
okay. Watch this. How did Jews become lighter and whiter? How did that happen?
Through the expansion into the West.
All right, so they expanded to the west, and what happened is, if you check the mtDNA of Ashkenazi women, you'll see that they don't have a major connection to the Levant as far as genetically. What happened is the men, if you read a book called Medieval Traders, the men would sleep with women in Europe, in Northwest Europe, and that's how the children that's how they started getting lighter and lighter. Those
Right.
Ashkenazi
No.
Jews, watch it.
That's not how they started getting lighter and lighter.
And by
Let
the
me
way,
sh-
too, Sephardic Jews are attached to the Levant.
Okay,
Ashkenazi
listen.
Jews are attached. Hold on, let me finish. The Ashkenazi Jews and Sephardic Jews are attached to the Levant. They are.
Okay. Now listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
The first time that you find admixture with Europeans and people from the Levant is not during that time period. The first time you see it is through the Philistines, through the sea people. Those people are from the Aegean. So the Canaanites have been mixing with the people from the Aegean long before you ever heard of an Ashkenazi or a Sephardic or even an Israelite.
All right.
That's facts.
Now, remember, Ashkenazi is a name.
Right.
Don't fall for the name. The fact is, where did these people come from? Genetically,
I agree with you.
Genetically, hold on. Genetically, and when Jonathan Church came on, remember, one of the first things we asked him was, are the Ashkenazi Jews and the Sephardic Jews attached? Are they connected? He said yes, they are connected genetically. Now watch this.
Of course, genetically.
Hold on. Are they connected to the people from the Levant? Yes.
Hey, I gotta
You're
go.
making
y'all.
the same argument as these dogma nuts that say, we all connected genetically. All of us are connected genetically. That's not the issue. The issue is the term Ashkenazi and Sephardic. That's the term. That's the issue. Those who have been claiming those particular two sects, how long have they been practicing Judaism?
Man,
that's my question. When you bring up genetics, we all connected genetically.
Yo, Garfield, you there?
Yeah, I'm listening to y'all.
So we all connected genetically. So that's the same type of argument they try to make to link themselves to the culture. You can't link yourself to the culture that way. My question is, how long has the the people that call themselves Sephardic and the people that call themselves Ashkenazis, how long have they been practicing Judaism? And from what I see, it's been about 1,000 years.
Why you say 1,000 years? I'm curious.
That's what through my research, that's the number that I've heard. That's the number that I've read. It's been about 1,000 years. And I compare that to our people practicing Judaism. So I'm asking, my main point is, show me black people practicing Judaism longer than the Sephardics or the Ashkenazis.
Okay, genetic studies on the Ashkenazim, researching both their paternal and maternal lineages, as well as autosomal DNA, indicate that the Ashkenazim are of mixed Levantine and European, mainly Western and Southern European ancestry. These studies have arrived at diverging conclusions regarding both the degree and the sources of their European admixture, with some focusing on the extent of the European genetic origin observed in Ashkenazi maternal lineages, which I just said, which is in contrast.
Mainly what you just said? Mainly who?
Focus on the European genetic origin, meaning that the woman, maternal, the woman, like I said, they went to Europe and they slept with the woman. Which is
I didn't say differently.
Okay, which is in contrast to the predominant Middle Eastern genetic origin observed in Ashkenazi paternal lineages. I'm done. Now I'm telling you,
and they
bro,
mostly what? The first part you read, they mostly
the women come from a European genetic origin.
Exactly.
Now, didn't I say when they started sleeping with those women, that's how they became lighter and lighter? Didn't I say that, bro?
Okay,
bro,
and I'm saying all I said is that it's happened before that. It happened with the Canaanites.
Hold on a second. We're not talking about the Canaanites. I'm saying to you,
but that's the same people.
That the paternal lineage is Middle Eastern origin. I am telling you, the Ashkenazi. This is why I ask you. The Ashkenazis are referencing them because of what? Why did they get the name Ashkenazi? Germany. Remember
who said Germany first in here? Me. I said Germany.
Okay. When did they move to Germany? This is why I asked you where you get the 1,000 years
I
from.
said they migrated. We all know that this all started in the Palestine and Syria area. We all know that, Garfield.
So what are you arguing
but I said, that's why I said the term Ashkenazi, and that's why I said the term Sephardic. I didn't say the people genetically. I asked about the terms.
Y'all bumping heads over shit. Y'all know too much.
That's because he just want to be right.
Now you saying the same thing I'm saying, bro?
I've been saying the same thing. I asked you about the term. I said the term Ashkenazi and the term Sephardic. How old are they?
The terms, I don't know how old the term is. I can't say I know.
Okay, so through my research, I say about 1,000 years. Okay. And you had a problem with that.
No, I didn't have a problem with it. I'm saying that.
But that's what I said. And then you start going into genetics.
Y'all goofy.
I said that they are connected to the Palestinian area.
I'm not saying differently, of course.
So we saying the same thing then.
Exactly. But we still haven't answered my question. But my main point was that. My main point was that you can't show black people practicing Judaism longer than the Sephardic or the Ashkenazi Jews. That was my main point.
Okay. All right, bro. I got you.
All right, man. Y'all have fun. Y'all goofy as hell.
Look at this. A 2013 transgenome study carried out by 30 geneticists from 13 universities and academies from 9 countries, assembling the largest data set available to date for assessment of Ashkenazi Jewish genetic origins, found no evidence of Khazar origin among Ashkenazi Jews.
No doubt.
Because I remember back in the days, in the 90s, I used to talk about the Khazarians and all that craziness.
That's called the
That's because I was with the
NOI hypothesis or something like that.
Yeah, that's because I was with the NOI teachings. That's why.
Yeah,
how do you pin the link, Garfield?
I already pinned it.
Yeah, but how do you do it? In case I wanted to pin it.
You got to do it on YouTube. You got to go to your YouTube while you're on StreamYard. Just go to
Uh-huh.
YouTube and pin it. Just press the
Oh,
three
all
dots
right.
and hit pin.
All right.
But once you start talking about Ashkenazi and Sephardic, those are the Jews that migrated from the east to the west into those areas and had been there for quite some time. These are people that speak Yiddish, the Ashkenazis. So they had been there for quite some time before they started using that term.
But why do they think that these people are fake? Is it because they're white looking? Is that the reason? I don't think
Of course, they
the
have
Jews. I
they
don't think
have
the
to if
Jews.
they're
I
gonna
don't think the
say
Jews. I don't think the Jews in Israel is that light skin either. The ones that were there the whole time.
no, of course not. I told you they was mixing with the Philistines. If they're mixing with the people from the Aegean, that's Greece.
That's crazy, yo.
You know, like how can they be light skinned if they mixing with them people? They gonna be some type of
They were trading with them. They have pottery similar to them. They were trading with them long before anybody ever heard of a Hebrew or Israelite. When they were the Canaanites, they were already mixing with these people. With trade comes admixture, period. If you have a long history of trade with a people, you're going to be admixing with them.
Agreed.
So they were doing this long before anyone ever heard of the term Israelite.
It's a way to establish relationships.
How do you think pork got to the Levant?
Mm.
How do you think pigs got there? Through the Aegean.
Oh, pigs ain't. People might think pigs is indigenous to the Levant. Oh, people aren't that stupid.
The Greeks brought the pigs to there.
Pigs can even survive in that type of environment.
So they've been trading with these people.
Yeah, they had to
check
domesticate
the
them.
pottery of the Philistines and check the pottery of the Canaanites and tell me and show and look at the similarities.
No, I'm waiting for Zongo to come on. He should have come on from 3:00. I don't know if he's gonna still come on. Then
Well, I just wanted to say that I'll have a show coming up with William Jones from Leaving Religion. I don't know if too many people are familiar with him, but he was a deacon. He's going to talk about some of the things he learned. He's a bit older. Then I'm setting up a debate between a couple of Christians and me and Joe Pearson on Paul. We're going to hash out the particulars probably next week because if we can't do it this week, it'll be one day next week. So y'all be looking forward to those.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, and Black Lion finna beat somebody up next month.
Yep.
But other than that, it's been a cool show. I learn every time I sit around you guys. That's why sometimes I just sit back and listen and offer 2 cents when I can.
Yeah, shout out to Unc and Asar that came on dropping bombs. Presentation, everybody should, if you haven't watched it, on Asar's rebuttal to Zion Lex, you gotta check that out. You're gonna learn some deep information.
Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews have been practicing Judaism from at least 200 days. That's when the Talmud was first written. I don't think, I think that's another thing too. We have to define what Judaism is.
So is that 1,000 years?
Nah, that would be almost 2,000 years. But
okay, well, 2,000 years.
Remember, they found evidence of Jews going to Europe from the 3rd century BC. So these are Jews going into Europe from a long time ago, a long time, bro. They always going to make money. And the thing is, Jews had a big population in Germany because something was popping. Remember, the Hanseatic League included Germany.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the Jews were.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said Germany. That's why I said Germany. That's the first thing that came out of my mouth when I was talking about the Ashkenazi Jews.
I don't think Asar will ever debate that dude. But I say this, you have to know what you're talking. You see, that's why I don't debate everybody on every topic. I might disagree, but I'm in the back disagreeing. Because if you're not an expert on a topic, you shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we get oversensitized. If somebody says something about Jamaica, I'm gonna get sensitive and like, how the hell you? I might not even know the conversation. You heard Dr. Small, Professor Small said the other day. He said, Garfield, I'm gonna tell you about a neighborhood in Jamaica you could even go to. What I'm gonna say? What I'm gonna say? Elder, you wrong. He right. I can't go there. Garfield can't go there. He probably can, but I can't go there. What I'm gonna do? Argue and say he lying? You see, sometimes we get oversensitive instead of taking a step back and just think. And I think what happened is sometimes because of how we grew up around what Sarnetta does, somebody says so, like if Black Jesus says something about me, I'm not necessarily going to respond to it. Even if that crazy guy says something about me, I don't necessarily have to respond because I know half the times it's based off belief. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, some of these guys, you don't have to just jump up and respond to them because they call your name. Sometimes it's not even necessary. It's not even necessary. These people, they're going to have the people that follow them and believe everything that they say. I find that problem now. You see them, Black Line, with Dante Fortson. The dude said wider, and a lot of people don't think about this with wider. When they say wider is Judah in them. Black Line, I say let them have it. Let them say Judah is wider. Because that's the wickedest place ever in the history of the transatlantic slave trade. They traded almost 2 million people, but the population was less than 5,000 to 6,000. How could those people be on the slave trade when their population was 5,000 to 6,000? But guess what? Guess what happened though? Remember between 1640 and 1727, Wider was independent. Wider was getting slaves from Grand Popo, Alada, in the Dahomey Kingdom, because Dahomey didn't include Wider yet. 1727, they invaded Wider. Guess what happened? The king ran off with thousands of people to this island nearby. Some of them stayed near the shores, thousands according to the reports. So that means majority of the population left. So how is it that they ended up as the 2 million people that almost ended up on the slave trade if they weren't even there to be traded?
Wow.
Let them have it, bro. I'm
Hey,
telling
if they
you.
want to claim to, if they want to claim to be snake worshippers, then let them go ahead and have it.
No. Let them have it, no matter what they worship. But guess what? The numbers don't make sense, bro. It don't make sense. If you have 5,000 to 6,000 people there, the majority of them ran off. Who is the Wider Judah people that went away? But watch this now. The Dahomey Kingdom declared that you can't trade people that's in the kingdom. So they couldn't be traded anyway, even when they were captured as slaves. Argument over. So who are they trading?
Damn.
You see, stop. Give it to them. You could have it. So I said when I do my Wider presentation, it's gonna be different than what the home team did and what Rawborn did. I gotta do it different, bro. Y'all could have it. I'm just telling you that the 2 million people that came over had to do with slave raiding and majority was Yoruba. Because when they went to Brazil, guess what? Brazil had over 5,000 maroon communities. What does that mean?
Presentation, so you're not just letting them have it.
Exactly.
You're blowing them
about to tell the
apart.
truth. You're about to expose the bull.
Exactly.
So we're not gonna just let them have it because we sick of the bull and the pseudo madness that's being presented before our people. So no, do that presentation and tell the truth. That's what it's all about.
So
let them get away with that mess. I'm sick of that.
That's interesting though, because people don't look at the things that you be presenting for real. They just they be amazed. I don't really think they listen and let what you say absorb into all the previous information and everything else that people have brought out about the things that we're speaking on. And I think that's where a lot of people have a disconnect with the information sometimes. They just be looking for they be looking for fun and not information for real.
And just something to try to hold.
This isn't just for fun.
Something they hope supports their belief system, and they want to hold on to it.
Yeah, I said let them have Wider, let them have wherever they want, and I guarantee you're gonna make a fool out of them. Google Scholar said there ain't no neighborhood in Jamaica I can't go to. All right, you can say that. Go ahead, keep saying that. Go ahead. I got many of them you can't go to. Many of them.
To the gully, huh? Can you go to the gully? I don't
These
know.
brothers look like they ain't coming on. So, hey,
I
listen,
don't know,
man.
Google. You might can't go to the gully.
You go to Gaza. All right, man. Listen, I'm gonna end the show. Willie, you want to say something before we go? I see Willie quiet. Schema Uno, what's up? All right, later, family. Peace and love, man. I'm out.
Peace.
Peace.